Clay, can you do it?
Probably never.
You sort of understand all this.
It'll probably never come off ever.
Okay, so that's
single camera at this moment.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling, dude. Huh? Does that feel good or not at all?
Yeah.
Is that not exciting to you?
Me and Howard, usually I'm the other side of the camera, so I'm not like doing that.
How does it feel being sat this side?
With an awkward microphone.
It feels,
Welcome to the studio. Round of applause for Clay Porter. See you, dog.
So good.
In the UK.
In the UK. Sorry, buddy.
It's all right. This is fun.
Yeah.
This is nice. This is the hang. This is the hang we want.
Yeah,
In the UK, home away from home almost these days.
yeah.
The lovely little lady at that coffee shop when I went with the Faircloth family to the park yesterday instantly was like, "Are you from America?" Like, hadn't even got my order. And I was like, "Damn, is it that fucking obvious?" Bren was like, "For sure it's that obvious, bro." But she was like, "Is it your first time here?" And I was like, No. And she's like, "How many times have you been here?" And I was like 20 or something, you know?
Wow.
Like,
Pretty
lot of
UK
times.
sense of humour, I'd say you got. I actually thought you were going to move here for a while. I did actually.
I wouldn't maybe entirely rule that out, but I love it here. I think I got like a just as tight of a friend circle in this area than I do at home. You know?
way.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
sick. When was the last time you were here, though?
We're for Bren's wedding, which was like summer 2019.
Yeah.
So I haven't been here since
Pandemic.
Pandemic
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
And you haven't been on the podcast since the pandemic.
Do you remember
I
you were
haven't.
driving?
Yes.
Is that right?
No, I totally remember that. And my memory of that podcast was fucking, it came out. We had a fun time chatting with
Probably,
you guys.
yeah,
I was
sure.
like, that was sick. And then like a week or so later, I just get these messages from Sven that was like, "I can't believe you were at Aaron's house. I'm so disappointed in you. I watched the podcast," or whatever he said. And I was just like, fucking Sven saw the fucker. So, yeah.
I don't think we used video back then, you know. I think it'll have just been audio. So
he was basically just like, "I have evidence you were having fun and I wasn't, and I'm not happy about it. And I'm going to tell you because I'm Sven Dog."
I remember it though. I can't remember exactly, but I feel like it was like going in and out of signal, and like you could hear you're like. Yeah, you're literally driving down the road.
I definitely was driving. Because I remember I had to pull over, like, I was driving from Aaron Gwynn's house when he lived in Southern California to Bend, Oregon, which is like a pretty savage, like 14-hour drive.
Oh, that's a big one.
And I had just left Aaron's house, and so I was like, holy fuck, if I like sit down and do this when the car's not driving, it's going to be like a 16-hour drive.
The house, is it the house with like
the James
LEDs
Bond
everywhere,
house.
and then like and Alicia
James
Keys
Bond.
bought it or something?
Did Alicia buy
Dude,
that
I
one?
heard or like Alicia Keys is like the next door neighbor, or she bought it off him.
Did you actually hear that?
I heard
Alicia
it, but
Keys?
it's gonna be hearsay, isn't it? But I heard, yeah.
I can't speak to.
There's lasers everywhere, though, right?
Yeah, bunch of lasers, bouncy house. Yeah, big fucking asshole. Yeah, it was when Aaron lived in his house. He's moved to Tennessee now, but he was living in that house that was in the Red Bull Warner Visits, like when he was building it. Crazy fucking house. Like it was definitely the nicest house I've ever been to of any pro mountain biker I work with. But it makes sense why he sold it, because he probably bought like fucking 10 houses in Tennessee or something for how much that thing cost.
That was California, was he at?
Yeah. He was in like Murrieta, which is like east of LA near Temecula. It's like where like most of the pro motocross riders live.
He put he had a YouTube up of it, a full tour.
Yeah. Which is like so gangster, innit?
Yeah.
Not many mountain bikers have done that.
It was as he was selling it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So naturally he's just going to be like, oh, by the way.
Probably his realtor was like, "Do a stupid YouTube video, Aaron. You'll get like another zero on." No,
I wonder.
No, it was a really, really sick house. Crazy view. I went there. I actually stayed at that house a ton that year because it was like a week during lockdown, which, by the way, Sven, it was an American production with an American filmmaker, an American subject, and the COVID lockdown laws were that journalism and news outlets were an essential service when you're in California, and we were in California. So Sven, we did nothing wrong.
You want your P's and Q's with Sven. He'll pick up on everything. I get a text every week.
I remember talking about Batman.
That's MTV Batman.
Still going.
Batman. Still good.
But yeah, Sven, that podcast was, I was like, I don't regret doing it or anything. I was just like, oh man, as soon as you give Sven Dog ammo for anything, it was.
Well, you get it for anything though, don't you? I imagine you get it for everything.
What's that?
Like a little attack from Sven.
Oh, definitely.
He's
the man though. He's like obviously my fucking older brother almost, but so it makes sense that he was giving me shit. But
I guess Sven will be over for Fort
We were
William.
an essential service, so
yeah, there you go.
Get out there, do the damn thing.
We're a big health and practice, or what is it called? Health and safety was paramount on the Timeless production with Aaron and Clay. Talk to Aaron if you need any more info.
Yeah, absolutely. So where have you just come from, and what are you up to?
I just came from yesterday morning, landed in Heathrow, and I came from Toronto, Canada, and I was working on a project with my good buddy Jeremy Grant, who directed North of Nightfall and Where the Trail Ends, and done a ton of shit and worked with Free Ride Entertainment forever, and now he's freelance, and he got this this job basically directing this project that's essentially like Drive to Survive on Netflix, but about horse racing in Ontario, Canada. Yeah, and so the client is like the like Ontario company that puts on all the races. So Jeremy's the director, and I'm the director of photography.
Horse racing.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mate, what's that like?
It's I mean, it's different. Obviously, I don't think I've ever shot something like, here's the deal. Like people ask me these days, like what I do for work. And my answer is I film things that go fast. Okay. And so horses go fast, but it's the only time I think I've shot like where the fast thing is actually like living.
Yeah. These ones are doped up, so they're like charged, aren't they, as well?
Well, we shot so this yeah, that's
on the pre.
You don't film that bit, yeah. Just they're heavily.
It's a gnarly industry, man. Like it's gnarly.
Yeah, because you're horsey, aren't you? Yeah.
Dude, the thing
not horsey at all. My girlfriend owns a horse. That's as good as it gets.
She's probably rich.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
More of a donkey.
Yeah, exactly. I know this like trainer that I shot was like, we're just like making casual, or no, the jockey that I shot, he's like one of the best dudes in the world at like riding horses and stuff. And we just met each other, and I got to chat to him all day long. And he's like, so you ever ridden a horse, right? He's just like being polite and making conversation. I'm like, I've ridden a donkey, but not a horse. And he was just like, oh.
Just think about the bike equivalent.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, have you eever ridden a bike? Like, I've
Like Semenuk asks you.
Yeah, exactly.
I've ridden a donkey. It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
That's funny. So the jockeys are tiny, eh?
Yeah, the horse racing industry is gnarly. From what I understand of it, like
super.
She's not
really cool
a fan
athlete. The interesting thing for me that I've done, I think we're doing 5 total trips for this project. It's like a big multi-shoot project, and we've done 2. And I just came from one, and we were shooting the version of the horses that most people know, where they're like on the back of the horse and racing the horse. And then like a month ago, I was in Toronto as well, and we shot this horse racing that I had even never heard of, where there's like this little cart on the back and they sit on the back. And so that it's the idea is to shoot like all different types of horse racing. Yeah.
Just tiny little blokes on a little.
What's that?
You're going to do rodeo? Like rodeo, they do rodeo on horseback, I think.
Yeah.
See, that's like
good question. We
cool.
won't, because I guess that's more like, from what I know, like this project is about horse racing, and rodeo is maybe like more like horse free riding.
Sorry, so it's every bit of horse racing. It's not just one race series.
Yeah, and it's different subjects, and the interesting thing, these 2 different types of horse racing.
So it's like On Any Sunday, but horses.
That's great.
The series maybe, it kind of is, because On Any Sunday had different types of motorcycle racing, right? Yeah.
Talk to me about the Steve McQueen of horse racing. I want to hear.
Dude. this Steve McQueen.
Yeah, who would it be out of the jockeys? Because we could look them up on Instagram and stuff.
Probably
It'd be good.
Probably this dude that I worked with like a couple days ago, whose name was Rafi. And I'd have to look up. I think it's like Rafael Hernandez, and that's the jockey that I shadowed around.
Yeah.
And the crazy
literally
thing,
you shadowed because he's so small. You literally passed. Yeah.
It's too good.
Yeah. What's the crazy thing?
but he is that basically they make super good living doing what they do, but there's no corporate sponsorship whatsoever. So it's the first time I'd shadowed an athlete where there's no like logos anywhere.
Yeah.
Rafi's one of the best jockeys in North America, doesn't have Instagram or any social media, doesn't need to, because the entire economics of horse racing is all based on like pure winnings.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like, okay, you finished. And the other crazy thing is these dudes, they race multiple times a night. And like one of the people raced 14 races in one night. Every race he does is a different horse. It'd basically be like the economics of it compared to mountain biking would be like, if Bren, every run he did at a World Cup weekend was for a different bike manufacturer. And it's all based
Something there, though.
on and so it's this relationship between jockey, trainer, horse, jockey, trainer, horse. And then people behind the scenes that are like, wash the horse and like, you know,
sheath cleaners.
You
got your sheath cleaners.
And so it's crazy in that it's pretty, in terms of like shadowing a World Cup racer at a World Cup, like it's not that much different in terms of you have to be really respectful of like you're working in a live event that's out of your control. Shooting events is really gnarly if you haven't done it before, because you're so used to like, oh, okay, my subject is an actor, or not even an actor, but like someone that like they're on my schedule, you know? Yeah. And shooting live events, you just have to be, the key to success is not interfering with the race. And it's all about like, if the subject trusts you, you know? Whether it's horse racing or mountain bike racing or anything, you know?
So what's a jockey training for? Like, what is it that they do? What, like, I know they obviously, surely you just, I don't know. I'm completely uneducated, but I imagine other people listening will also be the same.
Yeah, totally.
Sure, it's physical.
Yeah.
But you're like kicking it to make it go quicker.
Yeah.
If you're just swapping between horses, it's not like you've got like this. I always thought it'd be like you'd have like a bond between you and the horse or whatever.
They do it in racing, you know. I think they always
definitely
change. I think like they just literally, the jockeys just go on whatever horse it is that they get drawn on for that event.
And they just fucking
just go at it. Yeah, I think, yeah. But it's so, like, I've not done much horse riding at all. I don't confess to, but like every time I've ridden it, it has been so physical.
Is it? Yeah.
Because you like, that's that weird stance you got to get into where you just like all quad.
Yeah.
You know, like it's almost like doing a
drop bar, aren't they? Horses.
Drop bar. Yeah. And it's almost like doing a wall sit for ages.
Yeah.
It's like doing a wall sit, you know, against, it's like that for ages. You're just holding yourself up.
Like a minute or two being in the shittiest position to engage like these weird muscles.
Especially with the horse, with the race ones, because they put the stirrup things real high. Like it's uncomfortable.
They're just super light and able to endure like a minute sprint sort of.
And like just the horse racing that I was more aware of, that I'm sure you guys are too, is like just on the back of a horse is standard bred, and then or do I have it mixed up? One of them. There's also thoroughbred, which is they're on the carts behind them, and I might have mixed those up for anybody listening that actually knows horse racing. It's like a different type of athleticism, maybe, where if you're on the back of a horse, I can imagine it's way more of like a core, like just like hold the position.
Surely the cart, you don't even have to move, do you?
It's still like,
Just shout.
But even like how they utilize like in the corners, they're like leaning off the cart crazy. So there is like, and I found those races we're like, you know, the horse is dragging a cart and a dude versus the horse just having a jockey on their back. Like those cart races were longer, maybe less, a bit less athleticism, you might say. No dig at anybody listening that does that, but
there's no big dogs in there. I tell you what, I'm going to be honest.
If you're listening though, Ralphie, shout out. Good work with you.
I do.
He doesn't have Instagram, so I'll surely find this podcast.
100%. The disc golf community found it.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyone can.
That is true. Generally, if something's sort of exclusively rich people, I feel a really strong urge to make fun of it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Really, and I can't help it. And
It's more being that like you having that stance, you would be mostly like if you have your heckler goggles on and you're trying to like target,
Dude,
you're
exactly,
gonna make fun of, but you would more make fun of the horse trainers.
really,
Like, because they're the ones that are making all the money.
are they?
Because you got to think about it like these horses. There's only so many horses you can train well, right? Where these jockeys are like every race they're on a different horse. There's the one that I shot, they did 14 races in one night. It's like some random local Thursday night race.
And also the reality of it is super gnarly. There's like one of those things, I think, down the road, but it's got is it called a gallop? It's like a hill climb with all like rubber floor.
Okay. Oh yeah, see that's like, I think that's more like showmanship is the style of that horse.
Is it? These ones bomb past.
Exactly.
I've walked the dog with
There's a
Bernard
start
before.
gate.
Mate, they go some, don't they? They're like impressive
fast.
creatures, yeah.
For sure. And really cool, just hearing, it was this thing we shot a couple days ago that we were almost like in Canada, we were like shooting like the World Series of horse racing, where the one a month ago was way more of a local event.
Yeah.
But
does it draw crowds?
It does, and that's one of the reasons why they've hired us to make this, is they're trying to get more crowds, you know?
Okay.
I think a lot of sport, I know, like, you could probably argue, like, golf is in a similar position, or any sports that, like, majority have all these, like, older sports that have a high percentage of involvement of older people are trying to, like, basically, they're all kind of, like, doing a bit of a panic rev, being like, holy fuck, we need to make sure we're looking after our consumer tomorrow.
They're dying out. Yeah,
exactly.
They did it with cricket. I hate cricket. They did it with cricket. They made it like, instead of that everyone wearing white, they put them in red and blue at one point.
Oh, that's
and that was their attempt. They're
to get a younger audience.
The kids might like this a bit more.
Yeah.
Change the colour of the ball. We're out there. Attract the kids.
That's cool though. It's
Why
cool
did you
to
take that
see.
job on out of interest? Like what?
For my bank account.
That's fine.
That's the thing though. These days for me, it's like everybody thinks like it's like, oh, death grip, blah blah blah. You're like, we made money on it, but it's like over the course of a number of years, and it's not. This is like like I either like working on shit these days that I can spend like a couple years working on it, like a death grip, or it's just like DP cine work that's like, I'm in for 3 days, here's my invoice for 3 days work. A lot, you know, it's
I've got my hand up in the air. I've got a question.
Yeah,
I got sent a video from the Supercross,
oh yeah,
and it was a video of the big screen at the Supercross.
oh
right?
yeah.
I just wanted to ask you what that was and give you the opportunity to talk to me about what that was. That was 2 days ago. That was from someone in the crowd at the Supercross.
No, we totally. So if you're a fan of Bren, or me for that matter, we've been working on a new longer form project, and
Are we doing guessing what it is? Let's do.
yeah, guess.
Yeah, we do guessing.
Tell me what you think it is.
What
I'll
I
say
think
yes
it
or
is.
no. Yeah.
Some sort of how-to series.
Yeah. It's Brett and I are working on how to manual. We're kind of divvying up the episodes.
Oh mate, amazing. Hyped, well excited.
Yeah. So no, it's let's see how to, I mean, It's a project that from the first shoot I highlighted on my Instagram page and I put it as DG2.
Okay, I like this. We're leaving breadcrumbs now.
yeah,
Starting to
yeah,
build a
yeah,
picture.
yeah.
Might figure it out. I don't know.
It stands for, dumb genius too. It's
Pretty accurate.
Mate, wicked. You excited?
Yeah,
Kinda
super
biggin'?
pumped. Like, it's the Supercross thing was Monster being a supporter of brand is a supporter of DG2, let's say. They asked us to do a 30-second commercial spot because they wanted to air it on Supercross, and obviously Brent and I were like, that is insane. Like, if you would have told us 10 years ago, like, we're gonna make a mountain bike film together and Monster's gonna want to play it at the Supercross and then on the live broadcast on NBC, like it's
It was
like,
on NBC.
yeah.
Wow.
So no, it was really cool. We're probably like halfway through shooting at this point. That's actually why I'm over here. We're tomorrow driving to France to shoot another segment.
Nice.
It's been fun. It's like I tell my like parents and everybody that I'm super close to that's not like that's known me forever, like Death Grip, number 2. That's like what I do. Like I'd rather do that than like go on vacation with my friends.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it is like it's sick. And really these days, like I don't like when we did Death Grip, it was like 7 years ago. Maybe was it that? It was 2016.
I think you're right.
So
Six or seven, yeah.
Yeah. And I was at a point where like I still care so much about my work and what I do. And I don't think that's ever going to change, but I cared 6 or 7 years ago, like in ways that I don't now. Like the reality is like we could go to France and get totally rained out and I just wouldn't care anymore. That's like part of what we do. And it's not like, I try not to like use these projects. Like there was a point in my career where they were almost like defining who I was as a person.
You were
to
worried
people.
about things that were out of your control.
Exactly.
And
I'm just like, whatever. We're making a cute little mountain bike film with our friends. Yeah.
But it's got to be quite like a intimidating prospect still compared to like a commercial job. Like how does let's say for instance, just these two that you've got on at the minute, the horsey one.
Yeah.
What is Clay Porter's involvement in the horsey one? So you turn up.
Yeah. So like, my, director of photography. So I'm essentially in charge of all the cameras and the camera crew, and all the, and basically working with the DIT, which is on a commercial, is basically the person that downloads all the media. I think, what does that stand for? Digital Intermediate Technician, I think. It's basically a fancy word for like, this is who downloads all the cards and then starts applying like color looks to the footage for the client and stuff. So I'll work with that dude. But then just the other camera operators. So this last shoot we did on the event day, there was 4 main cameras. I was on a red Raptor, and then there was 3 red Komodos. And then there was what we have 2 GoPros at play. So it was technically a 6 camera shoot. Whereas the first one was like 11 camera shoot because we had 6 GoPros on the athletes. And so all that stuff you're managing, all the cameras essentially. So even before we show up to the shoot, I'll have like a full, I guess like Excel spreadsheet that says like camera A, operator Clay, owner of that camera Clay, the media that I need for that camera. These are the lenses that I'll use, boom, 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 and that for every single camera.
So will you have a shot list? Is that how it works? If it's a live event, do you have a shot list of things that you need to get? Or?
Definitely, but a shot list would be different than what I was saying, what I would call a camera map. The map is essentially just for client agency and the DIT to go, okay, I just got a card and it's labeled B1. It's the first B card. Okay, B is the Komodo camera, Justin ENG shadow camera. But it's all just to keep everybody on the same page. Like even like the shoot we just did, like the media for the red cameras is 3 different types of literally cards.
Yeah.
You know, and like even like Jeremy, who the director is, his job is not to know about the red cameras, where my job is. Like even like the Komodo and the Raptor, our first shoot, he just assumed, as you would, that those are the same media cards, but they're not. So you're kind of like in the commercial world, which this horse racing thing is for sure. It's like, it's basically just all about like being so hyper organized that like you're preventing problems before they happen.
How have you?
But but it's cool because I show up, we're shooting for 3 days. Here's my invoice, boom, and they'll literally the editor, not even the editor will send it to the executive producer, and then he sends me just rough cuts of all the edits and stuff and just to get. But it's cool in that it's like you understand why that formula works and that there's no other way. If you're like a one-man band, always it's like there's no physical way you can shoot all day at an event and then the next day have like an online link to every camera's raw footage, which like the DIT does for us on this shoot.
Yeah.
So I'll shoot all day, wake up the next morning and have a link from the DIT that has the not just selects like my raw footage of every single camera. Which isn't so I can start going through and being like, use this shot, use that shot. Again, that's not my job on this. My job is director of photography, and like ultimately, it's the agency's job to dictate what stuff. But it's more so I can see what was shot and just review it quickly for like technical imperfections. Like this setting was off on one of the cameras. Maybe there's like God forbid, sensor dust on one of the cameras or something. You would then be identifying that problem, and then the next shoot day.
So it's not angle or style of shoot. As a director of photography, you're not like, this needs to be a fast pan of the horse and the little bloke.
You're doing that too.
Wow.
You're doing all that, and you're managing the technical aspects of literally like this camera is Bob and that camera is Alex or what, you know what I'm saying, dude?
Yeah. But
Like,
it seems a lot,
but
dude.
so-
I would have thought that'd be too different.
How did you like
it's
begin
a ton
to do
of work,
that?
and it's more definitely a lot of work. How I got into doing it
How
was
does it feel like there's a big jump there?
yeah
From how you start doing that stuff.
no, totally. It's more like and I'll tell you like how we got like how Jeremy got the job is basically like he's directed the Rampage live show like since the start, done some really heavy live, some production around a live event, and the people that were doing this horse racing project saw the Rampage, one of these Rampage highlight reels that Jared's done.
Horse Rampage.
Yeah.
Is that what they thought?
They thought.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Horse rail. Okay, on 3, 2, 1. Horse rail.
This is your opening for that front flip. It's coming up. Yeah. Get him in.
They're warming Jared up for the real project, which is horse cage.
That's mad. They got it from Rampage. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they saw like what Jared did with that event, and obviously recognized like, whoa, that's got to be a really challenging shooting scenario, Rampage. And anyway, liked the style of that piece. Looked up who directed it. Hired him, and then even like this project, it's almost like the director then will be like, this is who I want as the DP, and it's kind of, I'm sure there's some times where the agency's like, no, we don't want that person, we want somebody else. But generally, if the director, especially on something like where you're shooting like a live event but trying to shoot it in a cinematic style and stuff, it's like you really got to be careful with who you task for the project, you know, like I don't know, George Lucas, or I'm trying to think of who the best filmmaker ever is of all time, just because they're good at working with actors and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's like you throw them into an event and it's like really just not a lot crosses over in the same way. Whereas if I showed up to a set of like Star Wars or whatever, like it's like I don't have much experience in like directing actors and blocking actors of where to go and stuff for the lighting to still work. And so there's like some things that can cross over between narrative and non-narrative work, but like it's more shit that doesn't cross over. And really the issues you run into is when I'm a non-narrative person and I'm going to take my experience and my ego that comes with that and think that I'm the man in narrative and vice versa. And that's when you can really get into some sticky situations. Like, I'm good at dirt jumping, so I'll be good at cross country. No, you fucking won't. It's the same thing, you know? But no, I've learned a lot. I mean, it's been really fun last couple of years. And to answer your question, Davey, like how that's really how I started to get into doing more DP work, is essentially like I would say actually right after Death Grip 1 was probably the first proper commercial that I worked on in a director of photography role. And it was the same as the horse people seeing Jared's Rampage cut, and Honda saw that Red Bull Cole Seeley edit that I did at Zaka Station. And they
So
saw
it's for
that.
Honda. What was the product? What was?
That one was, it was like whatever their new, it was like CRF, their new line of motos. Right. And I've now since gone on to do like a couple of their side-by-side commercials and stuff. So it's all about the biggest thing, like in terms of people thinking how you get hired for stuff is like, people are like, you know, and I used to think like this too, like, oh, I made 3-minute gaps, for example. Surely if, you know, I hope somebody at Monsters sees it and they can go, man, we should get the guy that did 3-minute gaps to do this moto thing. Well, unless it's like, I'm sure there's some exceptions to this, but literally the commercial world is like, if you're shooting a ketchup commercial and you have all mustard footage in your reel, you're not going to get the job.
Really?
Seriously,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
Yeah.
For real, yeah.
Definitely. And even the fact that like that yeah, it's very like, and even to get, say, the horse racing job versus like some of the car stuff that I've done, every time you have to send them a reel. And so I'll adjust my reel based on who it's going to, you know. So if it's going to a car brand, like I'll definitely have way more car.
Yeah,
you know,
delete the horses out
motorsports.
there. They're irrelevant. The horses, get them
bit,
out of there.
Yeah. And maybe have still a little bit of that because it is
Couple of
nice
horses.
for, yeah, 1 or 2 horses.
One of the ones with the carts on the back.
Yeah.
Kind of car-like.
Yeah.
Car horse
No
hybrid.
ketchup.
No ketchup in there. That's
Learn my
out
lesson
there.
with the mustard drop.
Mustard's in the trash.
Like, it's so, sorry, what I'm getting at is like, and to any people listening to this that are like, want to do, say they're a filmmaker and their goal is to do mustard commercials. That's their dream. Well, just because they've done mayonnaise commercial, like you have to put out to the world, whether it's a spec project you're doing on your own, just little clips on your social, if you want to be the dude doing this, you can't expect, no matter how talented you are, that if you want to do this and you don't have this in your reel, that you're going to get the job for this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so what's the key? You do self-initiated ketchup projects.
Pretty
that what you
much,
mean,
yeah.
pretty
And
much?
even I can relate it back. That Red Bull Cole Sealy project that we did, that was a project that we did on spec, which means we shot it, did it on our own, and then after I cut the whole thing, we had it colored and everything, and then I show it to Red Bull. Do you want this? Yes or no?
Mate, I love that. And I think
So
that's
and that's how you can literally trace it back. Like, how did Rupert Walker and I get the Rivian job? We did this crazy huge campaign for the like electric
Dude.
trucks and shit.
I want to know
And so-
how you got that job
I'll tell you that in a sec.
after the ad break.
Okay, Ollie, we're interrupting this wonderful episode.
And it's one of the best episodes I've ever heard.
Yeah, for sure.
It
Same.
really is.
And we're going to interrupt it with a wonderful deal. We're going to double the deal today. We're
Dude.
coming in swinging.
The deal's doubled.
We're doubling the
you
deal.
You can't ask for more than that, can you?
Nah, stay tuned,
No.
folks. We're going to double this deal.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Now we know one thing we do know, actually, the companionship, love riding bikes, and we know how important it is to have a reliable bike that can handle any terrain. But what happens, right, if your bike gets stolen or damaged? It can be a major setback, not just for your passion, but also for your wallet.
Oh, dude, that's where LAKA comes in.
Yep.
Our friends at LAKA offer a unique insurance model that's designed to protect your bike and keep you riding fearlessly. There's plenty of benefits of LAKA's cover. Maybe you could go through some of them.
Yeah, I can list off a couple for you, mate. Yeah,
Thank you.
so with LAKA, you're going to get cover for theft and damage of bikes, kit and accessories, even at races.
That is useful.
Not for you. £200 in emergency cash to be used to hire another bike. Good for if you're out on a trip, you know, maybe you're away, you need a quick bike, you need to get down the hill.
Yeah.
Or to get a taxi home from the middle of nowhere. Covers you abroad for 120 days and protects you if an airline damages your kit.
Very
Okay?
useful.
Claims are handled by real cyclists and are usually agreed within a day. And most importantly at all, mate, cover starts from just £5 a month.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best things. It's actually run by cyclists for cyclists.
Yeah, they get it.
Too right.
They get it.
Too right. Their mountain bike insurance is built tough enough to survive any black run. I like that.
Nice.
Theft, whether from your home or a vehicle when parked at the trails. Accidental damage is also included, as well as worldwide travel, cover and racing, whether it be enduro, cross-country or downhill events. You've kind of already said that. I wanted to say it again.
Reiterate.
Yeah,
That's
I wanted
what
to
we do,
reiterate.
all right?
Exactly.
Plus, LAKA's insurance model is based on a community of like-minded bikers who share the cost of claims. This means you only pay when the claims are made, making it a fairer and more affordable option.
Hey, Davey, so what are you waiting for?
I don't know. Mate.
Protect your bike and ride fearlessly with LAKA insurance.
Exactly, dude. Yeah, they got an exclusive offer for our Ride Companion listeners right now too. Here we go. We're doubling the deal. For the last however long, we've been offering 30 days free cover.
Very good.
And we said to LAKA, we said, yo,
you're crazy.
It's a good deal.
That's too good.
Let's double it. All right, so the guys at LAKA are going to give you 60 days free cover. 60 days, dude. That'll get you a whole 2 months of biking, knowing that your stuff's covered. You're not, if it gets nicked, you know, you're gonna get some help, bit of support.
And
right?
also, and you never know when the criminals are going to strike.
No, they've been striking.
It can be in the next 60 days. That's the fact. I don't want to, use scaremongering tactics or anything. But
they're striking.
I'm talking to you right now.
All right, Ride Companion folks, head to laka.co and enter the code RCP60. It's a bit different from one of our normal codes, so we're gonna have to go over it again. What is it?
Well, it's laka.co.
Yep.
And it's RCP60, and that's in capitals.
All in capitals.
Yeah.
RCP60 is gonna get you 60 days free cover. You can't say fairer than that, man.
You can't.
All right.
Find out more on laka.co. Happy riding.
Cheers, LAKA.
Yeah.
Great.
So how did you?
Hopefully one day I'll be Rivet and truck ad.
No, I got, I mean, it's the same story on like how Rupert and I got the Rivian car job as how I got the Honda job. And that, so the Honda stuff is they saw the Cole Seeley spec piece that I did that eventually we sold to Red Bull, and that's how everybody saw it. And some spec pieces you do them and you show it to say Red Bull, do you want it, yes or no? And like honestly, most times they're like no. And then you're like, okay, well fuck, we'll take the hit on the raw cost of making this and put it on your personal page and hope that people still see it and hope that whatever Honda still sees it and you get that. But so the Rivian thing is exactly the same as the horse thing in that. So Rivian is an electric truck company. They have this huge campaign coming up and they're looking for creative talent to help them realize that campaign. And one of their unique selling points that they want to focus on in the campaign is that a Rivian electric truck, when it drives by, sounds exactly like mountain bike tires. Okay? Doesn't sound like a regular car that you can hear the engine and shit running because it's electric. It literally sounds exactly like you rode by on a pebbly path going 15 miles an hour. Yeah. That's what that truck sounds like. And so they know, the client knows that they want to highlight that, the fact that the car doesn't sound like any other car when the tires are hitting dirt and pavement and shit. And so Ian, what's his last name? Ian, this dude, I forget his last name, Duncan or something like that. He was the former creative director at Vimeo. So he was like literally the dude that gave people staff picks at Vimeo, which I don't know if you guys know is a pretty big deal if you get one of those in any sort of content these days, you know. And so Ian had essentially given, Ian had seen Rupert and Brandon's work, Revelco stuff, and seen all the Raw 100 videos they did, and they go, these guys are the best guys we can find at doing videos of the sound of tires on dirt.
And that's what it was, yeah.
And so then it was a single bid job where they're not going to hit up anybody else but Rupert, right? Because he did all those videos. They hit up Rupert again. The client is like, who would you propose to be the DP? Rupert puts my name in. That's how we got the Rivian job, because Rupert's the best at recording sounds of tires on dirt.
So really the takeaway message to someone who's like getting into filmmaking is like, do what you like as hard as you can.
Like, 100%. And another way I would say that is like, and my biggest advice for people this year is, or not this year, like these days I should have said, is figure out, become a specialist. And be really good at that one kind of facet of, in the Rivian example, like not consciously, but he didn't even know that he was the best dude on the internet at tires on dirt sounds videos.
Yeah.
Like he has the biggest experience in recording that stuff. So literally that's how he got the job. And I got the job because Roop wanted me as the DP.
Wow.
And it's as simple as that. And it's basically like, yeah, become a specialist, not only in terms of like technical execution, like an example would be like, be the best dude at operating a handheld gimbal out of the side of a fucking car or whatever. That's that's an example of maybe being a technical specialist. Whereas me, for example, I've developed a skill set where my technical specialty is like long lens cinematography, heavy focus pulls, that kind of stuff, you know? And so become a specialist, and then just be careful in that what your specialty is you enjoy doing.
Yeah, ketchup's gonna get old.
Exactly. Yeah. And don't, and maybe if you're just like, if you're not passionate about, making ketchup commercials, don't have ketchup stuff in your reel, because
you want to move away.
Yeah.
Nice. Mix it up a bit. Yeah.
Double up. I think it's interesting that because so many kids now are so like coming through, you just want that instant gratification of just landing that job and
like that at all, especially in the creative field, you know. And not only the creative field, like within the creative field, like you can't be expected to get hired to do what you want to do if you haven't like obviously proven you're really good at that, you know, because like advertising, and there's a lot of amazing DPs out there, a lot of amazing directors, a lot of, you know, it's a very, wouldn't say it's, you know, you could argue that it's like quite saturated in a lot of ways, you know what I mean? And that's all the more reason to become the best dude at tires on dirt, or the best dude at slow-mo focus pulls, or whatever the fuck you want to, you know what I mean? And so, just make make the work that you want to make moving forward. And the goal is to hope that you attract clients, and not only clients, just an audience in general that like watching that work that you enjoy making.
I love this quote. It's just like about being undeniable. Just be undeniable at something. Don't, just make it so that every filmmaker or DP or whatever needs that guy with the gimbal.
For sure. And that's how, and again, that's how Jeremy got the horse racing job. Is the agency saw, man, that guy is undeniably good at documenting a crazy event in the middle of nowhere in Utah. Like, you know, if he can do that, surely he can do it at a horse track in Ontario. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised at that, because in a lot of ways, like I was surprised that we got that horse racing job. I literally asked Jer, like, did the other people we bid against, did they have horses in their reels? And he said, yeah, all of them did, and we still got the job. And I was like, damn, that's sick that we didn't even have horses in it, and we still got it. Because again, if you don't have fucking ketchup, mustard in your mustard commercial or your mustard pitch, and all you got is mayo, they're gonna be like, fucking fuck mayo. That other agency down the street has the mayo contract. We hate mayo, bro. Shit's for kooks. And you never even know any of this stuff. So you just gotta be undeniable. You gotta be a specialist. And really, at the end of the day, too, like it's first and beyond all this shit that I've just said. It's if you are not a pleasant person to be around, and you are not helpful to all other sectors of the production, you know, like if the locations person comes up to me with a camera in my hand and says something, and I'm just a fucking asshole to work with, that locations person's gonna be like, fuck this, we'll just get another DP. You know what I mean? It's like beyond technical ability or creative vision or anything like that, being a nice person to work with, and really being a team player in the sense that we're really all, you know, even though I'm just looking after all the cameras and whatnot, we're really all here to make something that's greater of any one person, right?
Yeah.
And so being you can literally make some sort of mind-blowing work that none of us even know what that is yet, you know, like a heli going upside down and the gimbal's on the, I don't even know what it is, but if you're really good at that and everybody knows it, you know, and you're not pleasant to be around, like, good fucking luck.
You're gone,
gone, dude. And so it's about humility, being pleasant to work with, and also, too, one thing I've learned, and this has been a really recent learning, like there's so much over the years where back in the day, like the client would make a decision that I didn't agree about with. And so me and the crew were just talking shit on, I can't believe they chose to do that, blah, blah, blah. That's so funny. Well, like what the fuck do me and the crew know about selling car tires?
Yeah,
Nothing.
it's true, yeah.
We're here to sell fucking car tires. And so us being like, that's such a dumb decision about fucking this and that. It's like, well, no, fuck you. We're not here for your vision. We're here for the client's vision. And if you have to learn that in the commercial space, because literally some of these jobs, like if it's like a 30-second car spot and there's say 30 frames on the storyboards, and you bring up an idea to a client and agency that's not on those storyboards, they will literally look at you like, why are you wasting my time thinking that this is cool? Our roadmap is in front of us. 30 shots. And it's almost like to the fact, even like if we like say we're to wrap early or something like that, and you were like, hey, there's a cool time lapse we can get right now, and you're trying to just show them that you're down to fucking work till the bitter end. It's almost to the case of some agency and client people will be like, what do you mean? Like, we're done. Why are you overachieving? It's like the like kid that like does all the extra credit in school or something almost. So it's really, and that's like the last couple of years, like trying to do more and more commercial DP projects. It's been refreshing just to be like, I don't have to care what the creative is. Nor do I give a fuck what it is, dude. Because again, it's not my project. I care what the creative is when I'm in control of the creative, like Death Grip. You know? And so as soon as you can learn, audit this project. Am I doing this project for a personal experience where I'm going to learn a lot and have fun with my friends? Or am I doing it for my bank account, X or Y? And then when you start to, and then you can kind of like take what you're doing the job for and then kind of work backwards into your approach.
But it's a scale, right? So you've got self-initiated projects on one side, and then you've got like full on like the Wiener Schnitzel commercial.
Yeah, exactly. Which is fully they're literally like, can you carry the camera for this project?
How do you work out where you're at in each one? Because surely it is a scale, right?
It's easy to work out where you're at in the commercials, because all I need to work out where I'm at is if we've made the day on what we've promised we're going to deliver to the client. That's, you know, is what we thought we were going to capture on all the cards actually on the cards at the end of the day. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. I've done my job. And that's why I'm loving doing commercial stuff. Is Death Grip stuff is like, or whether it's whatever it is, that's like all consuming. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about it. And even when I try to not think about it, it's like whatever, I'll be driving and a song will come on. I'm like, oh, that'd be sick for the Friend Dog Madeira segment. And so you can't even escape it. And on one hand, that's really cool. And on the other hand, it's not when you want to escape it. Yeah. And the commercial stuff is like the opposite of that, you know? It's literally like, we're showing up to make a mustard commercial and we need 29 shots to make the mustard commercial. And all I care about on the day is like getting those 29 shots, what they call making the day.
Making the day.
Which is basically you've gotten what you promised to the production and the greater client and agency, what you're going to get that day, you know? And a lot of too, like when we're like, say on that, like the Tiger Woods monster piece, that, did you see that? Yeah. And so that one was like, we have 3 hours with our talent, which I was honestly blown away. We had that much time with Tiger fucking Woods. I thought it was gonna be like an hour, because I've done some of these shoots where it's literally like you have like an hour with a boxer and all the lights are already set up and they just come in and boom, you're done quick. But it's all like in order to make the day, like say on that Tiger one, and keep in mind that one's like, holy fuck, we're working with Tiger Woods. Like we're gonna, not that we don't always do this, but more so ever before, put in like everything we can to get the most out of that. But it's literally like a day before, working with an AD, which is assistant director, and their role on a film set is to essentially they just look at the time. 10 a.m. we need to be at hole 18, and then Clay, Cam, and Roop are going to have 12 minutes with Tiger, and it takes 4 minutes to get to hole 17. And so, holy fuck, it's 4:15 or 10:15, we haven't, and they'll like cut us off because we won't make the day if we're like, no, I can get the focus pull better, I can do this better. It's not like and so once you realize that like so much of a commercial production is totally out of your hands, like I really enjoy it, because you got to think, me in doing all this, like my history with doing all this shit is everything's in my hands, right? From making the pitch deck to fucking calling Brennan Ollie to having them pick me up to airport to this, that, boom, boom, boom. And so now the commercial stuff is like, it almost like in a way feels like cheating. Like, whoa, dude, I can just show up and for 8 hours just
boom, invoice at the end, see you later.
Exactly.
Peace out.
And so it's like, I love doing that, and I love doing like a Death Grip style project where it's like a couple years with like my really close friends, and they both and the interesting thing too is they both really complement each other, and like even like some of the commercial, like on some of that Honda shit that I did, the creative director at the agency, like he was like a Death Grip fan. You know what I mean? And so we didn't get that job because I made Death Grip, but it certainly doesn't hurt that the creative director is like, oh yeah, we're getting the dude that made that sick mountain bike movie I saw, whatever. And then on the other side of that, what I learn from these commercials in how to work with people and how to time manage and how to this, that, and the other, then I can really take that stuff to the more passion projects that I do, like Death Grip. And so they really do, like, you learn from both. And the interesting thing is, like, people so often think that like there's a right and a wrong way to be a filmmaker. And it's really about looking at what's the job that we're doing, where's the location, how easy is access, who are the athletes working with, are they down to work with us, or are they just like they're only doing this because they have to type thing. And then auditing the job on the day, and then structuring how you approach that based on what it is, you know. And so often people think like, this is the way to do it and this is the way. And it's like, well, maybe that worked for this project, but that's like signing yourself up for ultimate failure on this project, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's, it's whether you're working for an athlete or direct to a brand or with an agency or whatever, it's all about filmmaking and content creation, whatever you want to call it. It's all about, and whether the subject is Brendog or Tiger Woods, it's all about respecting the talent's time. So if you show up and you don't have your shit together and you don't really have a vision, and not only do you not have a vision, you're really kind of like lackadaisical about like looking at the clock and you're taking forever to get certain shots, like you're just going to lose the trust of the subject, and it's going to, their 3 hours and yours for that matter are going to feel like all day, you know? But if you can walk in there and really like 5 minutes into that thing, Tiger Woods goes, holy fuck, these dudes have already gotten like a couple shots and I know all their names, they've come up, they've introduced me to them, they're pleasant to work with, blah, blah, blah. Then people ask me like, oh, what was it like working with Tiger Woods? I'm like, it was fucking awesome. He was the ultimate pro ever. He's Tiger Woods. You know what I mean? He is a pro. Was I more nervous to meet Tiger Woods or Emil Johansson? I was more nervous to meet Emil Johansson than Tiger Woods. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, and so it's really, and whether it's Emil or Tiger Woods, if you show up and you're not respectful of their time and certain athletic performances that they're putting in for your cameras, like if Emil's going to do some crazy fucking trick and I'm not receptive to the fact that he only wants to do this once, then you just instantly lose all your trust in your subject. If you lose all your trust in the subject, pretty much everything else is fucked.
I've got a question, right? So with a mix of doing it in and out of bike industry,
yep.
How do you feel about each one? Because bikes, from a design or marketing perspective, what I've done within biking's quite close to me, and it's quite like I guess it's like in every avenue of my life. Yeah, totally. So yeah, it's super easy in some ways to do it, but in other ways, I feel like I'm like deep in it, so I'm like really hypercritical. Yeah. Whereas when you go to other parts of, for instance, this horse thing you're doing, you're trying to appeal to people that actually don't necessarily know loads about horse racing or whatever. 100%. So it's like you go from doing a bike project that's to a super, I don't know what the word is, educated or like informed. Yeah. Core informed. Yeah, definitely. Going to an audience that isn't, I think is like weirdly appealing for me. So like a logo for I don't know, a local cinema. Totally. That's like heavenly, because I feel like I can like over deliver almost. Yeah,
for sure. No, totally. And there's definitely, I'm pretty similar in that, like I I don't really like in terms of like, do I enjoy shooting telephoto long lens slow motion focus pulls of a car or a horse or a mountain bike? Like these days, it's kind of like they're all the same.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, unless one of them moves significantly slower or faster than the other.
Yeah.
That changes my approach. But I enjoy taking, I enjoy basically bringing, say, what I've learned shadowing World Cup mountain bikers for 10 years. I enjoy taking that and educating this production, which is primarily a commercial Toronto production base. Like the only people they're flying in are me and Jeremy. Everybody else is local people, even the other other three camera operators, because Jeremy is the director, has never even shooting anything himself. But I enjoy taking what I've learned shooting World Cup mountain bike racing and applying that to other things. Like in the same way, I also enjoy working with these Toronto, mostly commercial people. I enjoy getting little tips on how they do shit that I can take more to my arena. So it's all about like the thing with, dude, like filmmaking and maybe everything, like you just have to be excited to learn. If you're not excited to learn, you're pretty much fucked in whether you're doing what I do or doing what you guys do. You know what I mean? And I remember I used to think too, like, you know, like, I don't know, like, oh man, it'd be crazy to do this project with Red Bull and work with these people and blah, blah, blah. I would like learn so much, and they know exactly what they're doing. And it's almost like no one fully knows what the fuck they're doing. It's the people that are willing to accept that and learn the most that get ahead. And that's really, it's like, I remember even like 15 years ago when I was really first getting into it, literally thinking like, man, dude, I can't wait till I get to work with Red Bull because they're going to teach me how to set up a cable cam. I remember thinking that in like 2005, and now I look back, I'm like, oh, that's
The fizzy
so
drink
ridiculous.
company.
yeah, exactly. They're far from that. They're going to be like, we hired you to know how to use a cable cam. How the fuck do we use it? So yeah, it's I would say, fuck man, my biggest advice to people who are watching this is like be a pleasant person to be around, be open to always learning, like every day, dude. Like I could probably, if you guys asked me, like, what'd you learn on the last shoot? Like I could, if I, you know, give me a sec to think about it, but there's all sorts of shit from like, oh yeah, one of the local camera operators like had this kind of label on their hard cases of their cameras. And it's like nerdy and detailed as that is like, you're just like, fuck yeah, I'm going to get those labels as soon as I get home. You know what I mean? Because those labels are going to help me maximize the day the most. If I just spend 2 minutes less figuring out what case a lens is in, and if some dumb labels help me maximize 2 more minutes, it's 2 minutes.
Just got to optimize everything all the time.
That's something that doesn't change. Again, whether you're working with Brendog or Tiger Woods or Death Grip or the horse racing thing where you're in and out. It's like, yeah, my boy Rafi, what's up? We'll get you an Instagram, bro. It's cool new tech, dude. Everybody's
a whole
on
world
it.
out there.
And Rafi's going to be like, but how much do I get paid to do the Instagram? I'm going to be like, hey, fuck, your trainer doesn't care and you don't need Instagram, Rafi. Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to be, like I said, first and foremost, be a pleasant person to work with, and don't be afraid to learn and figure out what your specialty is, you know, and develop a reel and a series of projects where you're undeniably really good at that.
Mustard.
Like that. Gotcha. Well, in my case, like you're really good at, like, you know, I'm a specialist in handheld camera movement. You know what I mean? Like you could literally ask me like 10 mountain bike filmers or 5, like you could go, what's Robbie Mead's specialty? What's Chris Seeger's specialty? What's Milky's specialty? What's all these people? And I could instantly tell that to you. Because I, like on a Death Grip project, me and Siegs as directors, like we need to be able to essentially audit these opportunities we have to work with these people. And like, how can we utilize
like best use these
person?
people.
Yeah. In the like, okay, cool. We have Andy Lawrence flying FPV and he's only available for 2 days. Like, how are we going to maximize this based on the other stuff we have to accomplish, but then the location too, you know?
It's funny you talk about as well, like doing these commercials to open up maybe horse racing or whatever to like a new community and make it appealing for them to watch and stuff. But in my opinion, Death Grip did that because it was on Netflix. Like, how many people do you think was like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
I'll have a look at this, what is it?
Yeah, definitely.
How many
Yeah.
more people that opened up to mountain biking? I don't know if they give you like those figures and stuff, but I bet it was
I'm
astronomical.
glad they saw Death Grip, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah.
cool. Is like I'm
Yeah,
glad their
totally.
introduction. So many people's introduction could have been Death Grip. How sick is that?
Yeah, exactly. How many people, literally
And
bought a
that's
bike after
like-
seeing that on Netflix?
Yeah.
Totally. And I think, and yeah, that's, I mean, getting financing for Death Grip 1 versus DG2, is that what we're, the second
What's
one?
it called? Dumb Genius.
Yeah, getting finances for this second one we're doing now is like definitely a lot easier because we've proved that concept in, again, like even in the bike industry, like just because Brent and I have worked together and made maybe some edits together that were, I guess, people saw a little successful, that definitely doesn't mean we can make a 44-minute film and get it on Netflix together, you know? But now that we've done that, like definitely the fundraising's been easier, but it's still not like, I wish I could tell you guys that, you know, Brent Siegs and I have a bank account right now and there's just tons of money in it. Like they're if you added up the total sponsorship revenue we've generated, it's definitely a nice chunk of change to make a project, but it's all getting paid throughout the course of like 3 different years. It's like we're always, you know, even in, like right now we're doing this France shoot and we're like waiting on a couple sponsorship payments. So technically the funds in the Death Grip count are like scary low right now, but we know in the fall we're going to be getting this check, that check. So
Yeah.
all of us, it's almost like we're now like for this France trip having to like loan our own project money that we'll reimburse ourselves for, but know that a check, you know.
You have to remember
Yeah.
and keep on top of it.
Yes, and you have to, you know. But again, the commercial stuff is pretty enticing because even like just costs like food and stuff, for example, like
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about should we get a burrito or should we get sushi tonight. It's more like worry about that on when you're not paying the food bill.
Yeah.
Right? Or no, don't worry about that
about
when
it.
you're not paying the food bill.
Yeah,
But for
yeah.
that, you know, it's not like we're invoicing Scott and Monster for, oh, here's our food invoice. No, it's all coming out of our overall.
So it's like you wish it was at the start of a project. Does it feel like you're at the bottom of a big one?
No, because we're halfway through, and it doesn't even feel like
at
we're
the
at the
start.
bottom of the definitely at the start. Yeah. Same on day one of a horse racing commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's like what you get paid for, is being able to manage stress and things that are out of your control on the day. Like, you definitely, like, I would say in the commercial world, if a client or agency sees you like freak out at anything, there's a good chance you won't get invited back.
Is it?
Yeah, for sure. And you have to be, and it makes sense. Like if I'm working under Jeremy, the director, and I see him being a hothead and freaking out, then I'm like, oh, you know, is what he's told me correct? You just don't want to put doubt in anybody's mind ever.
I was on a Canon shoot and I was a stuntman. They had a hot version of me. I've probably told the story before. It was really
Canon
funny.
shoot? Like
Canon shoot for a camera, right? It was a
Canon cameras.
Canon cameras.
Yeah,
it was a
got
really long time ago, and they were. It was like a handy cam. It was like a dad cam almost. So it was a really long time ago. And anyway, so there was a camera operator. We'd been sent off. We'd been briefed. It was a massive production. Way too many people there. It was a bit of a shit show. We'd been briefed and we'd been sent off into the woods. And the shot that he wanted was of me, the mountain biker, filming on my Canon camera some birds.
Cool.
So he had a red camera. He's shooting the back of my camera.
Yeah.
And it just hadn't been thought out at how hard that was and how crap this camera was. So this was it was like a dad cam, dude.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not the image it produces isn't like
It's pixelated.
it isn't
It's just
stunning.
like,
Yeah. And especially on the back of the shitty LCD screen. So we're in the woods, grey day, right? Grey UK day. It's fucking miserable. And this guy's a consummate professional, but he's got a sense of humour. And I'm shooting, and honestly, I can hear him laughing behind me. And his camera's moving up and down, like it looks so shit. We're walking through just bushes, trying to find birds, and I'm zooming in, and you know when you zoom in on like a little hand camera, and it's all shaky.
Yeah.
Mate, we were... Both of us, we didn't know each other until that moment. We bonded over how funny life had become at that moment. Like, it was the worst shit. And he was just like, dude, I'm doing all I can. I'm shooting them. I saw the commercial, though, and they've just put, like, David Attenborough Robbins on the camera.
Oh, yeah, totally. And we were in a situation where you told me that it was a commercial for Canon, and you told me all this stuff, and that the first shoot, maybe the hiccup was that we couldn't find the birds. So my reply, literally, as like putting on my like commercial DP hat, well, who was in charge of the birds? Why are we waiting on nature to fucking? We
need a bird guy.
Why are we? Yeah, who?
Stop making noises.
Who's literally? And it's as simple as like who is the bird? Who's the bird wrangler?
Oh, mate.
The creative is based around birds, and we are literally putting the fate and the success of this production in the hands of nature and the bird gods.
There was another moment.
You can literally eliminate all that by fucking hitting up the bird store the day before the shoot, you know?
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Tape it to a tree.
Fred. Yeah, Penguin Pete. Just get him in there with his penguin. It's fine. It's done then, isn't it? Penguins ain't move fast. Even I could have shot that on the Handycam.
And a really easy way to like definitely, then it would be a discussion of like, okay, what's cheaper digitally, like in VFX, adding birds in, or actually having the birds practical. Yeah, totally is. And then there might be a case. So I would guessing maybe like, they're like, oh, we'll just do it all in VFX. Like, you guys could have shot so many shots that are like, you're pretending to shoot birds, but they're just going to add them in after.
Though. It was worth it. It was so funny. Such a grey day. Two people that found the same kind of thing funny. We laughed so hard. I love laughing that hard. Yeah. There was another bit as well.
How many people were on it? Was it just you two and the
Mate, so many. It was caterers. Exactly. It was so many. Grundy was there.
Nice.
I think Grundy got me the job, maybe.
It was totally. And it's like, whose job at the agency was it to think of creative that's involved around a bird, but not bring our own birds?
It was bad as well. They didn't even tell me there was a good looking version of me.
What do you mean there was a good looking version?
Well, there was the actor.
So you were the stunt double?
Oh yeah, you were the stunt double because
yeah, but they didn't tell me. I was like the mountain biker appearing in this Canon advert. But there's it's like a Canon advert for like 2 minutes. It's like barely an advert. It's playing in every screen. I only saw it once in like a PC World or something.
Yeah, totally.
But like the good-looking version of me barely appears. They don't have to do much. They had to like sip a coffee or something. But they're dressed exactly the same height, same colour hair, just good-looking, just not.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was another bit it was like quite an unprofessional shoot. I went off, so I was paired up with like different teams, and the whole day, to be fair, it was all scheduled, and we were like, we were going to make the day. Is that the saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was organised in that respect. Millions of people running for everything. We went up, and the dude just goes, right, so for this next, the DOP, I guess.
Yeah.
For this next shot, we just want you mountain biking. This spot's really nice for light. Grey day, shit day, horrible.
Yeah.
If you can just mountain bike through here, then that'd be great.
Like when someone says,
no trail, dude. It was undergrowth. There's logs. There's a holly bush. I'm like, fucking, what sort of shot do you want? It looked like I've had a nervous breakdown and I'm riding through the woods. Like, no one. Like, they didn't have anyone there to check whether this was how you do it.
Yeah.
They just wanted me to just pedal through undergrowth like I'm Terminator.
And that's totally. And like, you can't, as like talent on a commercial, you can't expect them to understand the nuances of
I'm not going to ride through a holly bush on camera.
Totally. But
what am I meant to do?
This is like an extreme, but still what I'm about to say. like they and like they can't expect you at the same time to like be able to take your bike and ride through any fucking bushes, you know.
It's so annoying when a brand misses.
It's more just like, who was what was the scouting process for this location? Who was in charge of that? Like and so there's a lot of and you'll be successful in the day, whereas if that dude asks you to ride through fucking sticker bushes, that you're not like a dick to him. you know.
I
Not
wasn't, but-
not that I think you would be.
No,
but
I
like, but
genuinely
like,
wasn't,
Like it's probably pretty easy to be like, are you kidding me, dude? Like I can't ride through that. Could you? You know, but it's like you can't expect him as the DP to understand mountain biking and the fact that you can't ride through bushes. Like I'll tell you an example. Like I did a Carson Storch Raw 100 with Red Bull in like 2018 when and he jumps over a train at the end. Anyways, that it was around the Boston area. The only reason why the project was there in the Boston area was because the year before, the metrics that Red Bull got a bunch of metrics where they weren't selling enough cans in Boston compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And so that's where they're like, okay, we need a project, some that's shot in the Boston area. Oh, okay, cool. There's a lot of mountains there. Let's get a mountain biker who's like a really prominent free ride American mountain biker. We want an American athlete, Carson Storch, like, you know, and then who does Carson want to work with?
Wow,
and so that's
it's all
how,
based on data. That's insane.
That's cool.
but like, so I got flown out there a couple weeks before the shoot to do a location scout of, because it was essentially this train. There's like some train in the East Coast where we shot this thing near Boston. This train goes up to the top of a mountain, and the whole concept was like Carson's like, right, we're going to build a line around where the train is. And so we got to location scout, and like a couple people that were on the scout that were like either local at the location or even like the guy that worked at Red Bull, his perception of mountain biking, he's not a mountain biker, is like Danny McCaskill trialsing over big features, he thinks Carson Storch can do that. And at the scout, it was painfully obvious. I'm like, dude, like we cannot ride through like the majority of this location. Like Carson doesn't ride over fucking boulders, dude. You know? And so again, it's all about like realizing and not assuming that this person knows what I do and vice versa. Like 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh man, I can't believe the dude from Red Bull didn't know that Carson can't ride over. Like, but like, no, dude, what do I know about selling fucking cans of Red Bull?
Yeah.
It's basically like, don't be, you know, and it's you just can't assume other people on the project think like you, especially when it comes to like details about like I remember that project I did with Bryn Atkinson last year with Norco, the green one.
Yeah.
That was he was on like a gold bike and shit.
That's rad.
Yeah,
Watched
no, I
that
was
the
stoked
other
on
day,
that.
actually,
Oh, yeah. And we were doing the color, and Bryn's really into color. And the colorist I had hired like couldn't get the
color?
The color of the, what's that?
Which colour's Bryn into?
Gold. yeah, exactly. Green and gold. No, the colorist couldn't get the color of the dirt right to Bryn's liking, and Bryn was getting frustrated, and I had to tell Bryn like, dude, this is a colorist we've hired that's in the UK. I've never met this dude before. He's coloring it in a studio from the UK. He lives in fucking central London, and you live in Bellingham, Washington, surrounded by dirt. Like, why would a dude in central London have your taste in colors of Pacific Northwest dirt? Have we determined, Bryn, has he ever even been to where we were to see the dirt in real life? You know, and finally, like, when you break it down like that, it's like, and the other thing too was that, you know, that project had a pretty good budget. Thank you, Norco. But it wasn't fucking unlimited. We didn't have like a crazy color line item in that budget, you know? And we're really, this colorist in London is kind of doing a lot of favors for us in doing this project for that budget. And it's also like, bro, like this dude's a dude in central London that's hooking us up with this color job. Like you're foolish if you think he's going to read your mind and like think, you know, and when I explained it to Bryn, obviously Bryn's rad dude. And he's like, yeah, that makes sense, you know? But again, it's not every job I learn. It's about not assuming that this person knows that. And I don't even want to get into more examples of the last shoot we did.
I want to hear them though. I love them. The Canon one, I think the examples you got are quite nuanced though. The Canon one, I think just there's a practical element that person lacked. Like actually just thinking about what it looks like for someone to pedal their bike through a holly bush. Like if you saw it in a park, and that's insane.
And that practical
you know what I mean?
element that you're talking about, the DP, he doesn't care. That's the director's job to tell you where to go.
Imagine video.
I know. It would have been
Imagine
ridiculous.
how insane
and,
it looks.
And
It just looks like
even when he got the first shot and he had told you, "Yo, ride through where the light's pinging," and if you would have tried to done that, which
he would have then been like,
okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
But in terms of like him
No, I
knowing
hear
like
you,
where and the more you get out of bringing non-mountain biker people into the nuances of mountain biking that you've learned your entire life, like the more there's going to be shit where like literally the DP wanted me to ride through a bramble bush and he didn't understand why that wasn't possible. Like, don't get me wrong, that shit still blows my mind all the time in productions. But 5 years ago, I would have fucking talked for 20 minutes about how I don't understand. These days, I'm like, I don't care if he understands or he doesn't.
Yeah, you're right.
You know?
Yeah. No, you are right.
But, and it's also
time.
like if we somehow say brought that DP on to work on Death Grip and that like that's when it's like, okay, now we're working on a project that is like these creative decisions actually are my creative decisions.
Yeah.
You know?
I love the idea of a whole section. It'd be like in Jurassic Park where the raptors go, the velociraptors go through the bushes. There's just helmets, just through undergrowth.
And everyone's dressed like they were in that Toyota advert, you know, like a bike that's too small. And like,
you're gonna love Dumb Genius too, then, man, because I didn't want to say it, but that's the concept. And so, everybody that saw the live broadcast 2 nights ago or was in Salt Lake, like they'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Just fucking, dude, it was like, remember I told you back in the day that I had that dream right before Sea Otter that instead of a rock garden, they made a trash garden? And it was a fucking unsafe trash garden. There was like hypodermic needles and shit through it. And Steve Jones, who I love, exactly.
Clinical waste.
Yeah. And anyways, I had this dream that Sea Otter and that they used to have a rock garden right at the finish line, which is like pretty unique, right? And so they changed it to a fucking trash garden. And Steve Jones, this is like, I guess I'm showing my age. This is like Steve Jones was there from Dirt Mag and stuff, and Jonesy was raving about it. He's like, this trash garden is going to change the sport. This is going to be so good. And I love Jonesy and I love Dirt Mag, and so I was like, damn, I really respect like what they're saying, but like, no, you're wrong. It's unsafe, Jonesy. There's fucking needles there. And so so I've taken the inspiration I have from that dream and funneled it into Dumb Genius 2, and here we are.
Hypodermic needles and stuff. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I think we spoke about it just before we started recording.
What's that?
And it's up to you if we go into it or not. But like the marketing approach of launching a film.
Yeah, no, I'm
super
happy
interesting.
to go.
We're talking about that was super interesting. What you were saying about like how the approach has changed, even from Death Grip 1.
Yeah, exactly. Like
to Dumb Genius 2. Almost said it again. Dumb Genius 2. But yeah, I'd love to hear more about like your approach. How much of a say have you got in that stuff? And like,
I mean, it's a huge say. It's me and Brennan Siegs talking about how we think we want to market the film in the year 2023. You know, if it's 2017, that's 7 years ago, which is wild that there was more, you know, it goes, maybe it's as simple as then it was like 1-to-1's the preferred, going to get the most clicks on Instagram. So maybe that's changed, so more vertical world and stuff, but it's really more like a project like, the other thing too, why like the marketing and releasing of Death Grip 1 versus Death Grip 2 is so much different in that when we're releasing and marketing Death Grip 1, there's never been a Death Grip that's been made. So you have to tell people Death Grip 1 is a film that Clay and Brendog are making and whatever. Whereas this time around, like for me, the value in really getting the audience talking and buzzing and people kind of talking about it is in not saying a lot, because all we got to do is kind of like put on Insta that Clay, Siegs, and Brenner together in Madeira and you know, especially
let everyone do the
thing with let everybody talk,
you
know, like when it's like come maybe the fall or late summer or something, we'll probably do more of a traditional like teaser that'll be online. That's almost like more of a project announcement. But right now, if it's like, if all people see about it is the occasional like leak on social on someone's story and then see it on, they aren't expecting to see it when they watch the Supercross broadcast and then they see it. It's so much more valuable than it's like, hey, here's a social post, Death Grip 2, first fucking release, 30-second commercials playing on the Supercross broadcast. Like, if you're telling them to watch that and that's going to be in the broadcast, and the corest of the core fans, they then know to watch for that. But how much more powerful is it going to be if they're still going to tune into Supercross and not even think that they're going to get that, and you give that to them? Like, that's going to stick with them more than if you're kind of like feeding them with a spoon. Like, no, it's on at 8 Pacific time, not 7 Pacific time. Like, if a bunch of people miss it because of that shit, like, I don't care at this point. We haven't I don't want, it's not in our best interest to just be like, we've done this, we've done that, we're going to do this, because I want to make the best possible film we can make. That is all I care about right now. I do not care about when we're going to release the idea of the movie, because I know that if I make the craziest movie I can possibly make, all this marketing strategy and shit, that all takes care of itself, because the end result is that good. And I'll use the example of like a couple of years ago, I forget if it was a Jay-Z or Beyonce album was coming out, but they both have some ownership in the music streaming service Tidal, okay? Which at the time I think was like the 6th biggest music streaming service. You know, it's like Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, boom, and 6. Like, I don't even know if, I don't really hear much about Tidal. I don't listen to music on Tidal, but on the week that Jay-Z or Beyonce album came out, and I can't remember which one it was their new album, and it was available exclusively on Tidal. And so for those couple weeks that the album came out, who was the #1 streaming service in the world? Tidal was.
Yeah.
And so it just goes to show you, if you can create a product, if you can put all your eggs in the basket of creative execution, then all the marketing and strategy and all this shit becomes way less important, because no matter where you put it, people are going to go to watch it.
People are going to find it.
Yeah.
It's so true.
And so that's why I'm like, you know, I definitely, Brand Siegs and I are going to have some discussions about like kind of like when and how we announce this thing. But right now I keep telling Brandon Siegs, like we just do not need to care about that right now. All we need to care about are these individual shoots. And then if we stay laser focused on the end product of the film, that by the time when it comes to us announcing it, it's like just makes everything so much easier, because even you now have this amazing material to make a trailer with, where maybe if you were talking about the trailer on the first shoot, the shoot might have not gone as well, or, you know, I mean, but it's definitely really interesting in terms of like, just like where the, how are you going to get a audience to really become interested and talk about and invested in this project? And it's certainly different than 7 years ago.
That's what I was about to ask. Like, what has changed? Because I remember 7 years ago, whatever, I remember talking about Death Grip and it being like, this is like some of the last long form content.
Yeah, ever,
you know?
maybe.
It might be, right? At that point, it was like, it might be like people aren't we're going to be in the world of just TikTok, I guess. Like, thinking about TikTok back then.
Totally. And we totally already are. Like, I don't know if there's been like that we're kind of the only people like crazy enough to still be doing these full-length mountain bike films. And really the only reason why it works is because Brand Siegs and I are such good friends, and we want to do it. Brand's sponsors never hit us up and were like, we want to hire Clay and Siegs to make a mountain bike film about you. Not once. We had to make it and then go to all of Brand's sponsors and be like, can you help support this? Because we really want to do this, and we have a sizzle reel to show you, and blah, 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 and this fancy deck, which Ollie helped out with. Shout out Alls. It's like, first time around, we really like, no one knew, we just hadn't proven ourselves really in like the long form space when you talk about like me and Brandon Siegs, you know, and this time we have. So we're in a really interesting scenario of like, when we do market it, that now we can do this cool shit. We're like, not tell anybody that there was a Supercross teaser, and if people see it, people see it. And then maybe like, you know, I got a text from Mike Redding, who I haven't talked to in like a year or whatever. And he was like, just literally when we were setting up, was like, I saw the Supercross broadcast. When's the premiere? And like, no offense to my boy Mike, but there's a good chance I might not even write him back. And so he can then, when he's talking to people over the next couple months, like, dude, I saw something on Supercross. And so it's almost like what like Kanye West is really good at doing, like this guerrilla like shock marketing. And I'm not gonna, Brent Siegs and I have no intention to speak to our audience or do some of the shit that he's done over the years. But my point is that it's kind of, I think in this day and age, it's better to leave your audience really wanting more and leave them hungry as to force feeding them information. Like, do we want to have this really cryptic, like, hope you watch the Supercross broadcast to see the 30-second pre-teaser commercial, or do we want to be like, Death Grip 2, these are all the people we're going to do. Here are all the locations. Here are all the athletes. Here are all this. Here are all that. We're just like force feeding information. Like, which one is more valuable to you guys in terms of keeping your interest throughout the rest of the show?
Sure, the organic style is way better.
So, and I don't think we would have as much creative freedom in the kind of marketing and launch and announcing of this project. We would have nowhere near as much creative freedom had this not be a sequel to something else that the audience already understands, you know? And say if I was doing this project with another athlete, and we would be right back to where we were, like, you know, and so once you're working on a sequel per se, there just becomes a lot more opportunity to like take advantage of the fact that you've already built an established audience, you know, and they know a little bit, you know, and so you don't have to tell them as much because they know a little bit, and you can almost like leverage their like hunger to want more and leverage it in a way just to like torture them with hype. You know what I mean? Like, sure. I do not want to release so much shit that by the time the movie comes around, people are like, should we go to the premiere or should we not? I want to release so little.
Where did it release?
That basic, what's that?
Where did Death Grip 1 release? Premieres, and then where? Did you go straight after that?
Yeah, so
iTunes.
We premiered it, and then like maybe, I want to say like it was probably like a month after the first premiere that then it was available for what they call like digital download, so to buy on iTunes. Yeah. And then it was out for probably available to buy for almost like a full year before then it was available for streaming on Netflix. And then even after the 2 years, so Death Grip 1 got a 2-year global streaming deal with Netflix. But as soon as that was over, the distributor had gotten it on Amazon Prime. Okay. So literally like, you know, say the end of the month on whatever one date, it's on Netflix. Literally like the next day, it's on Amazon Prime. But even that window of, say, when an audience is used to like the window from buying a film to when it's available on streaming is like way, like, what did I say? It was a year difference. Like now it'll probably be a lot shorter window, you know? And so it's all just, and that will affect again how we market and release the project, knowing that really even like the thing, to be perfectly transparent, like I said to Brandon Siegs the other day, I was like, dude, when was the last time you guys bought a movie on iTunes? Yeah. Like I'm even me, and I probably buy more shit on iTunes than fucking anybody. And it's been like, I don't know, 6 months for me, you know? And so it's exciting. Like when there's a good chance we could release this project like straight to streaming, you know? So it premieres, whatever. And then shortly thereafter, because we know no one is used to buying films on iTunes for that matter, like maybe we can leverage that when we start to approach streaming partners like a Netflix, like an Amazon Prime. Like, you can't even buy this thing. This is straight to streaming, and therefore we can get a way better deal than we got with Death Grip 1 with Netflix, which is essentially you're going to them like, they're like, here's the global streaming license for this movie that's already been out for a year and every core mountain biker's already seen, you know, it's and so in terms of like what the best way is to marketing,
I think it's interesting what comedians are doing now. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
What comedians are doing, that's something that, especially with doing this, like I keep an eye on. It's like, what are the big comedians in the States doing? And they all just go straight to YouTube. Yeah. I know that's probably not viable with a mountain bike film, but I don't know if the audience is big enough. And it might be, I'd have to like, it's crazy how many comedians now are just like straight to YouTube.
Yeah. And maybe like, you know, this YouTube trajectory will keep going. And maybe by the time we're ready to release this thing in 6 months, 9 months, whatever, that we'll realize like, holy fuck, maybe we can make the most money if it goes straight on Brent's YouTube.
Just seems mad to think.
And I don't think that's going to be the case, because YouTube is way more of like a, the audience that watches YouTube that ultimately gets everybody these same numbers is a way more adolescent audience. They're way more used to like people talking to the camera. They're way more used to subtitles. They're way more used to fucking flashy thumbnails. All this shit that like I creatively I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
Like if literally YouTube came to us and we're like, you know, double the amount of people will see this if Bren talks to the camera before he fucking drops in, or I don't know what the example. Yeah, exactly. Like I would literally be like, no, we made Death Grip because I want to go on vacation with my friends, and now this doesn't feel like vacation.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. I know you don't know the numbers, but like you see like a Fabio video, one of his top ones, like 90 million on YouTube, and you're like,
huge.
That's like that's real numbers. Like that is a real fucking number.
You guys will. I remember having this argument with Bren like years ago when Sam Pilgrim just started killing it on YouTube, right? And someone at Monster, I think, told Bren, he's like one of Monster's best athletes globally, and Bren's just going like, "What do you mean? I just fucking had a Netflix movie or whatever, blah blah blah." But they're just seeing the straight numbers on YouTube, and those numbers are mad impressive. And Sam Pilgrim has killed it.
Yeah.
In terms of what's your specialty? He's doing his specialty really well. He is what'd you say? You got to be undisputed?
Undeniable.
So if we're making a commercial with wooden bike wheels, who are you going to talk to first?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Steering wheel bikes.
it's true. Yeah.
Check.
All that shit. Like you're going to call Sam Pilgrim, and if you think of anybody else that's going to have more experience in that type of shit, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
I'm confident of. Maybe I don't know my wooden bike game as well as I think I do. I kind of forgot what I was talking. Oh yeah. No. So you said Fabio Widmer's, his biggest edit is 90 million. And so the little, not argument, but the conversation or maybe debate, if you will, that I had with Bren when he started to realize like, wow, the power of YouTube and how Sam Pilgrim is like crushing it with Monster way more than he has, and he's doing YouTube. But my rebuttal to Bren was, okay, Fabio Widmer or Sam Pilgs, whoever got 90 million views, will Death Grip. How many languages were those views turned into? Do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure.
Death Grip was 44 different languages
around
the world, you know? And I know Fabio Widmer got 90 million views on his edit, but I forget, I don't know what it is now, but Netflix has 170 million global subscribers. So literally with that alone, I'm like, okay, we have now Death Grip on Netflix in every territory that media has watched on planet Earth in 44 different languages. And so then when you start like looking at Netflix, like those metrics, not even view count, fuck view count. That's definitely a really important slice of the pie, probably the biggest slice. But like, again, how many languages was Fabio Widmer's content translated into? Yeah. Kind of weird thinking about it like that, you know? And
why is that important?
I'm not, what's that?
Why is that language thing important?
Why is 44 languages compared to one important? Because our value to our partners is that this project that you've invested in is now in 44 different languages compared to one. More people can see it.
Right.
And understand it. And it's massively important, the language thing.
Yeah.
Same with this podcast. Like you guys, the future of your guys' podcast is different languages.
Yeah.
Like look at Mr. Beast's channel. He's got Mr. Beast in Espanol, and it's literally like he's just like repurposing all this content they've already shot in different languages, and now it's like probably the most profitable sector of that dude's business.
We were talking about subtitles, whether anyone would listen or watch with subtitles, or whether it needs to literally be.
Again, as a podcast thing, I've not seen anyone doing it in different. I don't know. I've not really looked. Yeah. I've not really looked if any of the big podcasts on YouTube.
And I don't even different languages. Maybe they'll like I know that there's like a separate like Mr. Beast in Espanol channel, and I'm sure he's crushing it. And I haven't watched any of it, but I'd be curious if it's like literally they're taking like the English dialogue video and then dubbing over. Like
I hope it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it's.
And then, or if it's. Yeah, it's gotta be that. Exactly. Senor Beast. Mi dinero.
¿Qué? Senor Beast.
But it's, and so thankfully with like, and that's one of the things like the distributor does that they like those 44 different language translations of a film. Like, I don't know how to do that shit. They deal with all that stuff, you know?
Yeah. Okay, this might be a stupid question.
No.
There is stupid questions and stupid questions and stupid answers.
Don't ask.
But like, how much dialogue would there be in a film like Death? I'm trying to think of Death Grip 1.
Barely any.
Right, okay.
Which is funny. And it's more just a flex of like, this is where my content can be seen. But
okay.
I joke in that there's barely any dialogue in Death Grip 1. And the majority of it was me filming with an iPhone with Brennan Needles arguing in the car. That's like right at the start, like after the logo and stuff comes up.
And me in bed talking about my little jump bug.
Yes. 44 different languages, bro.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
I didn't even know there was 44 languages in the world.
Rat and
that's
Bryce, that's...
Yeah, that's
Bryce
good, yeah.
Yeah.
Bryce
There's
and Brad.
more
In the
dialogue
Spanish one,
than-
it's like,
that's
puta
hilarious.
madre.
Yeah, but they didn't. The difference though is the 44 different languages. They didn't dub over. It's like subtitled in 44 different languages.
I wish. I wish.
I know,
Senor.
I know.
The Josh,
Senor.
Yeah.
the Josh and Bren bit. The what section was that?
Yeah,
Chambry.
Schladming.
Schladming,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, Schladming dubbed would be brilliant.
Oh,
Japanese Schladming.
Like
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, but I want to do it so bad.
yeah.
Scheisse, the German one.
Yeah, exactly. Like the difference
Scheiße,
is
bro.
like back in the day.
Scheisse, Bruder.
The difference, I guess, between subtitle and dubbing, which I think most people get, is that like remember back in the day, I sent you the Red Bull UK when I was doing the Atherton project.
The Atherton project.
Exactly. They literally dubbed
Begun
over and changed all the
Atherton.
names. Where like Rach was like Matilda or something like that, and I forgot.
Matilda Atherton.
Yeah.
Ouchie!
Yes.
And then crashes. Yeah. We were
Yeah.
crying. That was a joke that went on for too long.
I remember
Gone to this.
tripping. But yeah, it has, and
Yeah.
that was a long time ago. But just like holy fuck, they've literally like, and that's honestly a testament to Red Bull doing that shit in 2009 or 2010, whenever that was. Like Red Bull as a brand is so smart about how they leverage the content that they make and how they repurpose it, and then. You know, for the core market, it'll come out then, and then, you know, wait a little bit and re-edit the piece and make a whole new piece that's about the same production, but for whatever. And so
Dulled down.
Red
or
Bull is
less
definitely like
specific.
the content kings in this day and age, and they have been for the last 10 years in terms of like just how they leverage what they've made.
Okay.
You know, where other brands are making really a ton of content too, but they're
You
not
just don't
like
have that.
they're not like repurposing it for years to come, you know?
Yeah.
I
Like
have
you can
a,
still watch Afton Project on Red Bull TV, and it's made in
They
2009.
get fucking everywhere else.
That's
today.
that's like 14 years ago of,
Yeah.
and they're still getting value out of it. Like for what I got paid to make the Afton Project versus how much Red Bull has resold it is like they killed it on the. I guarantee you see the graph on like success metrics of Afton Project, and they're like, dude, sign me up for. Matilda Project. Just kidding. Or whatever.
I actually have a question about specific numbers, and that's annoying, but I have no idea, Netflix, what Death Grip. Do you have any idea?
How many people have watched it? No.
I would love to know.
Me too, bro.
Because it
I
was at
just
the
have-
top of the sports page in Netflix, wasn't it? Or it was like on
it was
suggested list
with
or was it
iTunes,
at iTunes.
but
Okay, I'm
maybe it
getting
was
mixed
like
up.
whatever top. But
Even
I
the
definitely have
comedians
all the
always say they
like
don't get the
numbers on
numbers.
iTunes of how many downloads that we've sold and
Yeah.
stuff. But like I don't even. It would be like, think of this again, like what I said to you guys a second ago, like how many movies have you downloaded recently? Like the numbers of like Death Grip 1 downloads, even though it was like the week it came out, it was number one in the UK. It was the number one sports movie, the number one documentary movie, and the number one indie movie, and then number 3 out of all movies on iTunes in
That's
the UK.
pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, and so and then a bunch of other countries, it was number 1 sports doc indie, but it wasn't like, it never got to like number 3 on all content, you know.
Yeah.
And so I know those figures, and honestly, the public does too. You can literally log onto iTunes and see like this is the top movie right now, whatever. But for Netflix stuff, they keep in terms of how many people have viewed Netflix on, they're not legally required to, they own the global streaming rights for 2 years. Yeah. And so for me being like, how many people watched it? They're like, well, what do you mean? We own it.
Yeah.
I don't got to tell you that.
I always thought it was bullshit, but again, comedians always say, like,
Yeah.
they don't tell me anything. I don't know if it's done good. If
Yeah,
they buy
yeah,
another
yeah.
one, it's
Yeah,
done well.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
basically
exactly.
the metric, right? If they
Yeah.
come back and they have another, then it's good.
And so,
Crazy to think.
yeah, maybe, yeah, but I know in terms of like actual Yeah, I wish I knew. I could tell you guys.
I wish
that.
I knew that as well, because they have a huge amount of power in terms of the broader reach. So like anyone who's trying to watch it that types in what the title, whatever that title is, if you type it in, it's going to come up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they have full control over this broader reach of people that aren't typing it in. They control that through the algorithm, through whether it comes up in suggested, through whether it comes up in what section it's in, and all of those things. Like, they literally hold the keys to the success of your. But I suppose you're already paid, so.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, that's what another people, it's not like when Death Grip gets a 2-year global streaming license through Netflix, like we don't get paid on per views. It's like they own it and could put it in every screen on Times Square, and if they so chose to, and we wouldn't see another, because
that's what the comedians, that's why they go to YouTube, because they don't want to be censored. If they're dirty comedians, it's going to get pushed down the list. They're not going to. YouTube
is great as if you look at like YouTube compared to any other media distribution platform, whether it's Netflix or I don't know what are some like
Amazon.
I mean, and even like I'm gonna put in the category like TikTok, all the social shit. Anywhere you can see moving images on a screen, YouTube allows the content creator the most creative control, which is why it's such an appealing platform for brands and creators, you know? And it makes sense why like a lot of athletes in action sports, like again, a guy like Sam Pilgrim has just absolutely killed it carving out this YouTube niche for himself. He has so much control over what he puts up and what he doesn't. And really YouTube, it just filters it down to who's down to work hard enough.
Yeah.
Sam Pilgrim has won mountain biking YouTube so hard, not just numbers, but being diligent about releasing content when he says he's going to release content. I guarantee you Sam Pilgrim is the only mountain bike athlete I can think of that's basically never missed a deadline. Like if his videos are up Tuesday, Friday, they're going to be up Tuesday, Friday. You're not going to get an Instagram post in March basically saying, I'm going to release a YouTube video every week. And then a month later, they just give up and stop. Like pretty much every other mountain biker other than Sam Pilgrim has done that, in my opinion. And so fair play to Sam for really like working harder than everybody else. And YouTube is a platform that allows you to, if you're willing to put in the hard work, you will. That's what it's all about, because it's so easy to control your own destiny. Like I love that I love social media because it is completely cutting out editorial sites left and right. If you want to see a new Brandon Semenuk project, are you going to go to Pink Bike or Brandon Semenuk's Instagram?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Editorial is just this, you know, it's like this dying way of communicating information, and it
has something, no?
But well, and I also have to say, like the editorial places, I am only thinking of like athlete driven content. I'm not thinking about if you're about to buy a $10,000 mountain bike, are you going to go on Semenuk's Instagram or Pink Bike to get information on your Trek bike? You're going to go to Pink Bike, you know? So I guess what I just said about editorial sites like dying, and it makes sense. You go on Pink Bike now in terms of like 9 out of 10 posts are about tech stuff to do with bikes. That just does not interest me at all.
No.
And so it's like, I'm interested if a brand wants to pay me money to shoot that stuff. But in terms of like, does like doing like videos that are oriented not at a human interest story or performance-based story, videos that are oriented like these are the features of product X, that is just lame, uncreative marketing to me. Like, do you ever see any Red Bull ads that are like, Red Bull's great because it tastes great and it has 23 milligrams of taurine and it has this, that, and that. No, they're clever. They're more clever with their marketing. And I think mountain biking is just getting to a place where there's enough industry behind it, where a couple of the brands are starting to get really diversified in how they launch bike products. Like an example, give us like Specialized in the last couple of years are doing these like crazy over the top launch videos, which like, some of them are like so crazy. It's like, wow, that's fucking kind of weird. But for someone that's just looking at to buy a bike, like there's a good chance they could go like, I want to buy the one that had the crazy weird launch videos with the monster in it and stuff. And like, that mountain biking, certainly all the editorial sites have really had to pivot in terms of like, human stories, documentary stories, performance-based stories, like
Where do they live though now? Where does all that?
YouTube and Instagram.
But but there's
No
so
one
much of it. It's so hard. Like I feel like you're a product of the
And
days
that-
where it
and
was
that's-
dirt or it was.
Yeah. No, I definitely am, and I've had to pivot too. We all have.
So how do
You've
you
had
filter
too. You're
it
doing
now?
a podcast
Yeah,
now
yeah,
instead
yeah.
of a magazine interview, you know. I think, where do you go to watch like performance-driven content and human
I
interest?
hate
content?
the idea of stuff getting lost. That's what it is, or like stuff that's like
Right.
important, because I know that very few things meant
Stuff
a big
that's-
deal to me when I was
Yeah,
younger,
yeah.
and then
And,
like
and I hate to say it, but the shit that gets lost is the stuff that isn't good. If you're Jay-Z and Beyonce and you make good music,
I
people are
still
going to
see
come to
stuff.
Tidal to.
I agree.
So-
There's this like weird.
And my obviously, bro, what I'm saying right now, my stance on all this is very like one-sided. Me being the content creator and not being like the editorial. Here's a bunch of information about this bike.
I guess just if something you did flunked, you wouldn't be like, I've done badly now. You would be all of a sudden like, I know I've worked hard, I've done the right thing. Why is this flunked? And then I think the first thing you'd turn to is just like, there's just too much of it. It's
Definitely.
And like stuff can get lost. I think
can
I've
get
seen
lost,
it.
for
There
sure.
are edits that I
Definitely.
think are like banger, and then you look at the views and you're like,
And I think like the pink bike thing and news outlets and stuff have just become this like weird monopoly these days
Yeah.
to me. It's just like monopolized. That
But it's like-
there's
it's-
only
it's
those
like-
couple.
Totally.
No one else can.
And it's just a monopoly on like technical information about products.
Yeah.
Whereas
Just a
like
monopoly
Pink
of
Bike
adverts,
don't have
basically.
a monopoly on. Semenuk certainly does not mean Pink Bike at all to launch one of his edits.
No.
And that's my point. You know,
Yeah,
if you make content that's so good, that's undeniable.
I think their model sometimes though is just to jump on it obviously as soon as it's come out, just to get the SEO, to get up Google, to then drive. Obviously the business
and I'm
model is to
sure
then just
there's
drive
that
ads
for sure.
You know, to get people on the site, sell
and like
adverts.
all this stuff about like clicks and ads and what we're talking about, like I know like maybe a bit about it, but it just doesn't interest me.
it
and
drives
I
my
don't-
fanny right
Yeah,
out.
it's like I like making cool
Dude.
shit, and as far as like my strategy, my entire career is like make cool work that I think is cool, and hope you can find an audience or a brand that agrees and wants to hire you or watch your stuff, you know? And I've definitely been like, just put all my eggs in that basket of like, I've been told too by like literally clients that are hiring me again and again that I'm rough with clients. And I don't care that if I'm rough with a client, because if we can make that much better of a project, then I'll take I'll take making a better project and having to be a little rough if it benefits the project. But you got to draw a line if the client then starts to go, Clay went from being a little rough to work with to a dick to work with. I'm not going to get hired. You have to be, if you're going to be a little rough during production and stuff, you have to be able to back it up with the product, you know.
Yeah.
And the people that don't get hired again are the people that are a little rough on set at times just to make the day, and they have to be. The people that do that type of shit and maybe are a little like have to yell every now and again and stuff. If you can't back it up in an amazing piece at the end of the day, like you being a dick or you yelling at somebody and telling them to get this faster, like what was the point? We'll hire somebody that can do it.
Yeah, I hear you.
But yeah, it's all about like, I just enjoy trying to make the craziest thing I can possibly fucking make. And then I think it kind of bugs Brent a little bit because he honestly probably wants to have this release conversation sooner than I do. But I'm just like, if we make the sickest movie ever, everybody's going to see it because it's the sickest movie ever. And I hope I can do that. And, you know, and if it's just for me all about making, stuff that I think people will enjoy and watch, and not really worrying about the other shit around it, because if I do this right, then all the other shit around it works itself out.
Yeah.
And it did with Death Grip.
Yeah.
We made the best
true
movie
that.
we can, and it got on Netflix. The only reason why it got on Netflix was whoever was watching all the movies that are being pitched to Netflix, they liked it.
Yeah,
They like what Brent and I like, and we just kind of got lucky, and hopefully we can do it again. you know?
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers are crossed. Yeah.
And there'll be a good chance that whoever was in the whoever bought the film at Netflix and watched it and ultimately was like, we need this on Netflix, there's a really good chance that particular person isn't going to be working at Netflix anymore, and a new person will fill their shoes that that doesn't think what we're doing is as cool, and we need to be realistic of that. And like,
Yeah, true.
you know, people move brands, like this person that's your friend left and they're not there anymore, and it's like very much, you just gotta kind of like, production and doing what I do as for my life is so much, I've just learned it's like one step in front of the other, you know. And if you're stressing about what the weather's going to be like in France in 3 days, like just one foot in the other, let's get to France first. And if we need to pivot on the creative and have the section be a rain section in France, probably be cooler than if it was sunny, you know. So it's like take problems and come up with creative solutions, and like learn to really enjoy doing that. Because if you enjoy doing that, then it's like, you know, like I know that if it's me and C's can get cool mountain biking shots in France, like I don't know if we can do it if it's literally showering, pouring rain every day, but it's a creative challenge. I'm like, cool, this is what we're up against. Like no need in thinking about what if, what was, just focused on the task at hand. There's an amazing documentary series called The Defiant Ones, which you guys might have seen. It's about Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. Like surely I would have been like, you gotta watch this. So
Yeah, headphones.
Yes. There's a scene in it where Jimmy Iovine, who's like this legendary music producer, who the series is about, him and Dr. Dre, he talks about how during horse racing, oddly enough, that the horses they have blinders on the side, so they can't see left and right. All they can do is go, because that's their only job, is to go, is to run as fast. So if they look to the right and see, oh my God, he's coming, that's distracting them from the task at hand. And I like to take that and approach into everything I make. It's like, how can I get so laser focused on making the best product possible that like I literally by design like don't care about the distribution strategy and shit.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that like this will, you know, again, it's like for me it was about like, let's get like a couple shoots under our bag and not worry about when we're going to release it, and then we can start to have those conversations. But basically being like, we're going to release Death Grip 2 here, when it's like, that's like almost like that's me being unrealistic to how challenging it is to make these really kind of like full length film projects. And it's like, you know, I used to get a buzz off seeing Bren do a huge whip. Don't get me wrong, I still get a fat
Sick
buzz
of it
off
now.
that.
He's sick of it.
But
He can't be arsed anymore. He's sick.
but now I get a buzz of how do we creatively solve a problem of Bren like doing a whip in the pouring rain, and how are we going to shoot that to still, you know, I mean, I'm not explaining this right, but it's,
No, I know what you're saying.
but it's more like the creative challenges are what most excite me, maybe even the most.
So you're actually
You know?
hoping for rain in the next couple of days?
I'll tell you right now, I could care less if it pours rain the whole time.
Ties biking though, innit, as well. It's like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
exactly.
It's relatable.
You know,
That's true.
what's
I'm conscious of time,
yeah.
but I'm wondering if you're interested in doing any listener questions with us.
Oh, let's do it. for
Would you
sure.
like to?
Yeah, of
Can we have
course.
Clay on for listener questions? That's 74.
mate,
75.
optimized.
Optimized. I just woke up and I just had 75 nutrients
Dude.
in one scoop of AG1. And that's how I start every day. You?
Man, I'm trying my best. I'm
What number
on,
are you on?
about 32 at the moment.
Oh, yeah,
but I'll
okay.
get there. I reckon I can get to 75 real fast.
Should we count them through and we can always fast forward it for the ad purposes? 32?
A bit more, about 40 there. Mate, we've been taking this stuff for a while, and I actually really like doing it. I love, like you said, man, you wake up, make sure you got 75 different vitamins, minerals, and whole food ingredients straight into your body without having to count out all these different supplements, keep taking them, really hard on your gut sometimes.
Used to be a
This is
stretch,
just
didn't it? Used
done.
to be a stretch.
Done.
Absolutely. And what a great way to start your day, just knowing that you're optimized as well. That's what I like the most about it.
yeah.
It's become, and it's why it's become something I do every single day.
Yeah, you walk out that front door, you're optimized, ready to tackle the day, knowing that you've hit all of your nutritional marks.
Exactly. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. That's right, we're hooking the companionship up.
Yep.
Go to athleticgreens.com/ride companion. What's that, Davey?
I believe it's athleticgreens.com/ride companion.
That's right. So you're going to get this.
Yep. D3. Super good. Easy.
Important for this, especially in a place where there's not much sun, which is in this studio. There's not much sun, is there?
We're going to be hammering that stuff.
Also, 5 travel packs. I always take these with me when I go away.
Yeah.
It just means that you can carry on starting your day in the same manner.
Especially some of the places you go, you know, you don't know what food you're going to be eating, what's going into body. You know that you're looking after your gut. You know, like you say, you're being optimized. You're looking after your cognitive function, all the stuff that your brain needs to perform optimally, right?
We're optimizing, dude.
We're optimizing.
And we want you to optimize too.
athleticgreens.com/ride companion.
And we're back.
Give it a bit more pizzazz.
Yeah,
okay.
I need to. Yeah. I don't know how many of these are going to be relevant, Clay.
It's okay.
I always wish that we do
Screen them.
specific ones.
Yeah.
But you never know if anyone's actually going to turn up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't know who's
I mean,
coming.
you pretty much just woke up. You're like,
I did.
Okay, wait, edit. Our man Doug behind the camera said to me before Clay walked in that Clay is one of the reasons Doug first picked up a camera. So I thought it's only right that we let the reason, even better.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
It's only
Doug-
right that Doug has at least the floor just to ask some
love
cool
that.
questions, if you have any.
I like that. Filmmaking questions.
We have to speak up because...
I've got one I could, whilst you were thinking, if you wanted. I got one specifically about focus pull. And I've always wondered it. Do you set... So, how do you... When something's happening in real time so fast, do you have preset bumpers to where you're pulling from and to?
For sure.
It makes way more sense now.
Start and end point.
There you go.
And how do those bumpers get hit? By the travelling target of the...
Well, a lot of it's like
stupid?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's like the horse thing or rampage or mountain biker, it's more like set the tripod up, like get your camera position dialed, and then I'll just like rehearse the focus pull.
Yeah.
Like Seminux 2021 rampage run, I had a Canon 3300 lens, so I was in a camera position where I could essentially see his entire run except for the landing of when he did that tail whip drop. That was the year. That was the only thing I could miss, right? Because where my vantage point is, I physically, like you literally couldn't see it, you know, but we had another camera to get the landing and stuff. But that was one of the gnarliest, like, I'm trying to get, so it's Brandon's top to bottom rampage run, and I'm on a parfocal lens, which means a lens that you can zoom through like a video camera and not lose focus. And so I'm on one of those lenses, and I'm with those lenses too, you don't have to pull focus as much. Like on a still lens, you're moving the barrel more than these. You're just kind of really hitting it because it's designed to be able to zoom through, where a still lens, as soon as you zoom, everything goes out of focus. But for that shot, and keep in mind, I was supporting my buddy Nick Genovese, who did, it was like a SRAM Steps to the Top documentary, and it was Nick's project, and he hired me, and he was with Brandon, I think flew down with him and then flew back home and was shooting everything, but he wanted for like the action to bring in a second camera, because he at the time, I think he was with Brandon at the top the whole time. So it really was like I was kind of hired to come to Rampage to film Brandon's run, and that was it. So it was like a, fairly high pressure shot, and I probably rehearsed pulling focus for like an hour by myself on the side of Rampage.
And
not just that one was crazy because it's actually you're pulling focus a little bit, but you're zooming through the barrel too.
Yeah.
And then when I start shooting it, and the camera's like fully pointed up towards the mountain, but then I also have to rehearse like where are my marks for when I move the camera, because there was a full 180 like pivot of if you're shooting the top of the mountain. If I want to get in the same shot the finish, I'm literally like we dug out a full path for me to orbit around the tripod so that when I turn and stuff, I'm not gonna like stumble on my feet.
No way.
Did that, and then it's literally like when Brandon lands the first drop, I'm at this focal length, and then I have all these like marks all the way down his run that I'm subconsciously like, okay, when he hits this feature, you know, I want to be at 50 millimeter focal length and blah blah blah. And so that was that particular shot was the longest I've ever rehearsed for any single shot. But even like next week when Brennan and I and Siegs are shooting in France, like boom, we know what we're shooting. Okay, as soon as Bren starts walking up the trail, it's not like I'm just like until Bren's ready to drop, I'm fucking not doing anything. I'm literally like in the monitor rehearsing like camera movement and focus.
There we go.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, like anybody listening to this, like I get the question all the time where people are like, how do you get so good at pulling focus, blah, blah, blah. And it's because literally for 10 years I shot World Cup downhill racing all summer and not even the races, the practice sessions when it's like first day of practice. Like
you've got a constant flow of...
Exactly. You have a subject coming towards you every 30 seconds that you can practice on. And when you have that much consistency, you get, you know, you're going to get good at pulling focus, but obviously like not everybody. I was very fortunate at some of the opportunities that somehow stumbled in my lap early in my career that I could be in the position to go to World Cups to, you know, subconsciously practice focus pulling. But go to like a really busy intersection and set up your tripod, and if you want to get good at pulling focus, have your World Cup practice be at a busy intersection and practice pulling focus on license plates all day long.
Yeah.
Because you'll have a constant shit coming towards you that you can pull focus on, and literally...
Don't wear high vis, otherwise you're going to look like a speed camera guy, aren't you?
Well, you won't look like you're in the UK if you don't have a high vis on.
Or a
high
Henry
vis
the Hoover.
jackets are... Davey, that vacuum over there isn't a Henry, and it's kind of like... I'm like...
Clay loves a Henry.
We only have Henrys. I have a Henrietta.
Yeah.
Pink one.
Oh, dude, yeah, I know all about Henrys.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
We were talking about
People
it before you
think
came.
fucking Mary Poppins and the Queen and all that shit is British, but Henry the Hoover.
You not have those in the States?
No, dude.
You get them
about
imported
My
over.
vacuum cleaner isn't painted to look like a shitty cartoon face. No, it's not in the States.
I feel a bit offended.
I don't know.
It's
man.
also
I'm gonna
too
go down
many
with Henry
years
the Hoover.
of like
Taking that to a grave.
maybe just like driving through these like really small, like working with like Dan and G and shit, and you like drive through like just these tiny towns that are like in North Wales somewhere, and literally all there'll be is like a tiny little corner shop, a pub, and like a store with like Henriettas and shit like that in the window.
This
And I'm
view
just,
of England.
I'm just
So
like,
crap.
how can this is such a popular product if it's like the only other
Everywhere,
than like
man.
food and drinks, the only
They're
product-
indestructible too. You get a Henry, you take it, like you have it
Yeah.
all through your life.
Yeah.
You know, pass it down through the generations.
Yeah, so Henry the Hoovers are really British, and
There you
high
go.
vis jackets are very British as well. Not quite as British as Henry the Hoovers, but that's where the high vis
Gutted
comment
about
came
that.
on. You would, if you were pulling focus on license plates all day long. Yeah, I would recommend to anybody listening to this that you have a high vis jacket on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a Hoover.
Doug, you got any film related ones?
Any more high vis jacket questions?
I got tons. I mean, I used to have Henry the Hoover at uni, and it was just filled with vomit. That's just what I used to.
Nice.
Oh, gosh.
What, from the intersection? No, wait, different thing. Okay, yeah.
Back of them. No, I mean, like I grew up like with tipping
So
point was my
smart.
first
Oh,
one,
cool.
You know, and all this kind of stuff, and like
Yeah,
Athlete
yeah.
Project and all this kind of stuff. But I think it's just more. I don't know if people are curious about. You know, you got your projects there by yourself, but maybe when you collaborate with other filmmakers
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like what was the latest one we watched? Like the Common Style Highway 30.
Oh,
Ewan
yeah,
Rupert and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Love that. Absolutely incredible and
Yeah.
stuff. And it's in terms of like how you go about if it's a collective thing when it's for a brand, or is it, you know, one filmmaker comes in with a vision and it's you there to service that one, or are you all kind of putting an idea in together?
Generally, like one filmmaker comes in with a vision, and there's always like a leader on a project. You know what I mean? And that Commensal edit that Rupert did, that was him. He just wanted another. That was fully his project. He was technically the director, editor, and he just wanted another camera. So I got pretty lucky in that I shot with Roop there's like 3 main looks in that, right? It's like Sun Peaks Bike Park, the coast, and then they went to like some desert location on BC, and I was like heavily involved in the Sun Peaks stuff, but didn't shoot any of the other 2 things, so yeah, as far as there's always I think there's really seldom like projects that I do that's like me and no one else. It's like not really any single camera stuff these days. But yeah, that's just Roop and I basically like finding each other's work 5-7 years ago and just hitting it off and becoming buddies and realizing we have a very similarly aligned like creative vision of what we want for projects, and more so than anything we just like hanging out with each other, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like these days, like if Roop has a Commensal how we edit, and that was really not a lot of budget on that project, but it was more just like sick rider, I'm shooting with one of my best friends, like and it's kind of the case of like a guy like Rupert could approach me and say he got a mustard commercial. I don't give a fuck what we're shooting. If I can work with Roop on anything, I'm in, Who I work with is way more important these days than what I shoot.
There you go, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we got in here.
Tight though, bro.
James Cross, he said, you've been asked by the UCI to build a World Cup track anywhere. Where would you build it?
Where I could put a good trash garden in. What location will give me the best trash garden? No, I'm just kidding.
Somewhere in the UK then.
There's a little trash, maybe Slough.
Yeah, Slough.
Park down the street. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, what's the question? I was so
it was
heckler blackout mode. Like I got something funny and then I just zoned out the question. Trash garden.
It was. You've been asked to Hang on. You've been asked by the UCI to build a World Cup track. Where would you build it?
That's a good question.
It's basically where do you want to go in the world, isn't it? The question.
Yeah.
I'd like to build it in Japan.
I was just gonna say like Arai, Japan. You remember seeing it? That's before my time. I think 2001 was the first time that I raced.
Yeah, it was Rankin's era, wasn't it?
For sure, heavy Rankin era.
Because there was a Pascal shot of him snapping a crank or something. Is that right?
Yeah,
Coming into the finish line?
Yeah.
Pascal?
It was, Arai, Japan. I was going to say Japan too. I think anywhere where you can you'd have to like research locations of like, where can I get a sick track that all the riders are going to be stoked out that's the closest to like a major metropolitan area.
Yeah.
And that's what I would try to find. I don't really know where that is.
I think it's probably important not to get too into the weeds with this, but do you think there should be more downhill, like World Cup downhill?
Probably. But
do you think the new organisation or the new broadcast and whatever are the people to do it? What do you think? I'd be interested to hear from your side.
I'm not the question. I just don't know enough about like the new people that are behind it. I know like Chris Ball's involved, and there's definitely some like names that I'm buddies with and stuff. But as far as like, I'm just not savvy enough until I'll be able to answer that question like maybe after I watch the first race or something like that. But
most people are like that.
I think that like I definitely think Red Bull did an amazing job at elevating the sport through 10 years of doing the live broadcast. But I also don't think, I see a lot of comments like on the internet, like it's fucked, Red Bull's out, like this is going to be a piece of shit. I'm like, dude, like Red Bull's good at doing live broadcasts, but they're not like, there's a lot of media companies been doing it way fucking longer than Red Bull has. Yeah. And so it's a case of like, I think I'm kind of stoked on it because say I wanted to put some footage of Bren racing in our new project we're working on prior to this year, that would have just been like a hard no.
Okay.
Or maybe if it was, it'd be like a hard no, or you can pay us a license fee to have the right to use your own footage that you shot, just stuff like that, where it's like, and now it's like, should I want to do like Red Bull owned all the media. So they were the bosses, you know, and they were very deflective of projects, as you would be if you were Red Bull, that weren't living on Red Bull's channels, didn't feature Red Bull athletes. And now it's like that whole roadblock that I had before is gone. So I'm kind of like selfishly for my ability to make projects around the World Cup series, I think it'll be significantly easier. Yeah, but I'm just guessing. And so for me, it's like, I'm like, awesome. Let's do this. Yeah. Like I personally, I love Red Bull and they've been an amazing client of mine and a lot of my friends work there and blah, 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 blah. But, I don't think they're like, I think it's easy to look at Red Bull and think they're like kind of the end all be all of live television production if you're just looking at it through an action sports lens.
Yeah. People don't like change either, do they? And it's, and to be fair, you know, that the whole like having to pay for it thing is a thing. Like it is a roadblock for some people. Yeah. Not everyone can afford another £10 a month or whatever it could be. It's, so
the paying thing will be like, again, it's like, you know, Red Bull we were really lucky that a brand with as much money as Red Bull was able to do what they did, and it was free. The fact that it was free is a joke. It takes like, you know, millions of dollars to do a live. Wild, isn't it? It's a lot of fucking money to do live stuff. And it's more, and if they have to, you know, I would maybe take, say if me being such a fan of World Cup downhill, if they say if I had to pay to watch it, but I got Cineflex footage on a helicopter at every round, it's like, take my money. I want to pay for that. And I think people that are that think everything should be free or like just fairly foolish, you know, even if I hate to say it, but like say there's people that can't afford to, if there is a paywall, to pay for it, which there's going to be, obviously. Yeah. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that like it's not a paywall of something that costs nothing to make and they're just trying to profit it all. No. It's a fucking live production around the world.
No one makes you do it. I like it enough to pay for it, to be honest.
Exactly. So and I think I've even seen like in the couple like comments I read online, like from like 6-9 months ago when it got announced that Red Bull lost, the, you know, someone else is coming in, like it was like the sentiment was like, we're all fucked, Red Bull's awesome. And like I'm seeing that like waning a little bit just in what I'm reading. And it's, again, people have to be, if you want this sport to grow but you're not willing to pay to watch it, is like, good luck getting it to grow. Like it's but I'm definitely really looking forward to seeing like what they do with it and stuff. And I think there'll be maybe, I would guess there'll be some things that are cooler and there'll be some things that aren't as good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But I have no idea. But I know like Discovery is they have way more experience streaming live events than Red Bull does.
That's true.
You know, and they probably have way more experience in making money off those live events than Red Bull does. And they need to make money because they are a media company. Red Bull is a drink that makes media, you know? So they have this product behind it that can have all this stuff for free. And I think that's it's kind of easy to forget that.
Yeah. What you got, Ollie?
Dude, we got some really obscure questions in here. I'm trying to...
There's really nothing of any substance. It's just
I want to find one that we can.
But thank you for submitting your list of questions.
No, there's some really good ones. Some of them I just get stuck on and I end up looking at like and actually thinking about. Which is
I'll get you. That's
okay. Jake McKinvin, what's the best way to crash and prevent injury, and how can you practice it? It's a great question.
Best way to crash.
Yeah,
I think stay young. Don't age.
Yeah,
stay young.
Aging's tough because you're just not limber anymore. Like I always used to crash so well when I was young and limber.
It's tough, isn't it?
And then now I'm older, I go to the gym loads so that, like Sam said in the last episode, so you got more meat around.
Yeah,
all of the
valid point.
Sticks.
Yeah,
that's why I.
That's what didn't you say that back in the day? Like they don't train to get bigger muscles. They train to prevent injury. So when they do crash, they're, you know, and that, so maybe that's actually would be my
I think
answer.
it is because I did both my shoulders and I was scrawny, and that's when I started training. This is when I was like, I don't know, 20 or something, separated my shoulders. And I was amazed at how much it didn't happen again. Like when I got bigger shoulders and I hit the ground, because I always used to think I'd be heavy and like I'd get more injured.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably...
Yeah,
It also says
yoga
how can you,
as well.
Yeah,
Stretching.
Okay, fair enough.
Try and be
Stretching.
flexible as well.
I've never
I
done
don't know
that,
about
so-
you. Exactly. I don't do hardly any stretching.
No, I've never done it. I can't.
Wish I did. I always try and then start and then just go like, nah, it's just boring. Could just lift things instead.
Yeah. I think all the people who are really good at almost have this sort of gymnastic approach.
Yeah.
Or this like style of crashing. Like Andreu. You can't even imagine him hurting himself. When he crashes, it's like you can't imagine him.
Cat.
Yeah, exactly like a cat. I bet it'd be beneficial to go to like one of those like air hop places. Yeah.
Probably would.
My advice to prevent physical injury is to become a film editor.
True that.
Go behind the camera.
Shout.
Go behind the camera.
But then you'll have a lot of mental injury. I wouldn't recommend it, actually.
Oh dear. What was the
this is a
Red
good
Bull? You just filmed something. Red Bull.
Oh, the snow jump?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick.
Form.
What was it called? Unhinged, I think? Or something like
Maybe.
that.
Hang on. I wrote it down actually. So I was like, oh, what is that?
That was
It's not come through here. Something like Fathom.
yeah, sorry, Fathom. What did I say? Unhinged? I don't know where I got that from. That's like the name of like New World Disorder 5 or something like
Red
that.
Bull Fathom. That looks.
Yeah, that was no, it was sick. It was Tyler. That was like a job, like kind of like Doug's question of like, how do you? That was me. There's my buddy Joe Carlino was the director, and then so they brought in me and another guy to as like a cinematographer, because that was an interesting job where it's like probably the only thing I've ever done where we only shot on one feature the entire time. We literally weren't shooting anything else, like not even like run-in shots. It was just for social of this one feature, but so you're limiting like how far you have to travel, how many steps you got to do in a day for sure. But you now have, instead of one athlete having to get their best, most clicked whip, you now have 3 athletes, and 2 of the 3 are a mountain bike and a moto that aren't used to riding on snow. You know what I mean? Okay. So there's a lot of, you're only shooting one feature and one technical like air or even like stunt, as the commercial world might say. Yeah. But all 3 athletes have to get it right, and 2 out of the 3 athletes are like riding on a surface that they never ride on, you know?
Oh, there you go.
So a lot of, but some of the imagery was amazing. It was like, you know, like 3 of the, and 2, it's like Bierman's probably one of the steeziest moto dudes. Ben Ferguson, who was a snowboarder, is like from, I don't know.
This is all on snow, one that you shot. Yeah.
And then Carson, I think Carson had it the trickiest out of everybody for sure. Like Ben Ferg just had to do a method on a snowboard jump, which he does like every day. He was chilling because he's so sick, and he's Ben Ferguson, right? And then Bierman had to do like a big whip, but I know it's on snow, but it's probably like he's done way like longer jumps and higher stuff. But then Carson had to match the way the feature was built. Ben Ferguson did a method on this side, and then Carson's on this side doing a whip. But we had to put like white carpet on the snow so he could have like something to like air off of and land on. And so getting the shot where Carson is the highest and Bierman and Ben Ferg have their best whips, it's like you're just adding to like performance wise things that can go wrong from the
that looks amazing.
But yeah, it was really fun. We were there for 3 full days, and it took us 3 mornings to get that moment. You know? So yeah, it certainly wasn't like drop in and the other thing for me and Joe Carlino and Sean Logan, who are the 2 other cinematographers on it, like when you shoot one athlete, you only have their athletic performance to gauge on where it was the most click. But now we're trying to compose shots where like Bierman's whip is the most clicked, but in that frame, Ben Ferg and Carson, and that, so it's like, and it was all full vertical 9x16 for social, which made it even harder because that feature and all of those sports, if we did that, what was it called again? I can't believe
Fathom.
Yeah, if Red Bull Fathom was rock climbers, then 9x16 is like we're chilling. It's a vertical that the action is vertical, where all of this was like, yeah, they're going in the air, but it's like they go in the air and they come down. It's still like a horizontal feature. Yeah. So shooting getting 3 athletes' performance dialed at the same time, trying to get all 3 in the shot at the same time, and 9x16 vertical was like
timing,
pretty
mission,
challenging.
Yeah.
Then that's the other thing. People are like, oh, fuck, shooting vertical, horizontal, and it's more like, what sport are we shooting? We're shooting rock climbing or bungee jumping or skydiving. Give me a 9x16 frame all day. We're shooting moto long distance jumping. It's going to be hard to make that look kind of like it looks in a vertical frame. Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah.
That's cool.
I've got a really good question. I think this is a really, really good question. From SP Cheney. Who do you think should be the face of mountain biking to take it to the mainstream public?
Ooh.
That is good, isn't it?
That is a good one. Wow. Who should be the... Take it to the mate. And we can't have someone that's already been there. I guess, obviously Warner springs to mind straight away as just a personality as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I was putting my shoes on.
I think you could say Warner.
Yeah.
I don't... But
and Warner's kind of like already done that to a degree. Like, remember when it's like Danny Hart, when Danny won world champs and that went viral, but everybody, it went viral because of Warner's announcing, not necessarily because of, don't get me wrong, amazing run, Danny Hart, world champ, but it went viral because people were commenting on like how just audacious the announcing was. In
terms of like a current athlete, I think that to narrow it down, I think that's it. Like Warner's already
already the North Star with that.
Yeah, he's kind of done. He is the mainstream representative of. He's the mainstream voice of mountain biking.
For sure, from a voice like broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. But what about like a current rider?
Probably Semenuk, and he's kind of already doing it.
Semenuk, you think?
Yeah. Just because the way that he rides, he's obviously such a talented rider, but more his vision for how he wants his content to look and how short and snappy and to the point and no bullshit it is. That's he's kind of like the total package in that respect. In that, from an athletic and like content creation standpoint, the combination of those two, it's like pretty hard to beat a Semenuk project, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but it's more like, are we taught like do we think that raising the sport is more performance based, or is it more like Warner, where he's just this amazing personality that? Because I see both 100%.
Also, like Semenuk's is not relatable to a mainstream audience, so we're talking about someone who's like super core, amazing, and
totally.
So in a way, like Danny, I would say is the most mainstream currently, and it's because he hops on phone boxes.
Actually,
and we all know
Danny
how big
McCaskill's the
phone boxes.
answer.
Yeah,
I didn't even think
Matt Jones, but also with Danny, he kind of shies away from some of the media stuff. He might not want to go to the Met Gala wearing.
And we have to look at it as like, what
way.
is your personal definition of growing the sport? Like, to me, I tend to lean on the more performance-based dudes like Semenuk and Danny McCaskill versus like, don't get me wrong, Matt Jones has done huge things, but it's more, it's less of a performance-based and more of a personality-based. And honestly, the hybrid of the two, because Matt Jones is amazing too, but
it's really hard to know. Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to know how you do reach a mainstream audience. I think it's actually a requirement that there is not just performance, because is mountain biking impressive enough?
It's not just performance, totally, and it's not just Warner announcing. It's like,
no, exactly.
And I think if you did have to pick an athlete that's maybe done the most to raise awareness of cycling, not even just mountain biking, it's Danny McCaskill for sure. Hands down. Like he is.
He's full mainstream, like full.
And he's so like it just can't. He's had like this, like from 2009 when he first came out to now, it's like every project you just, there's some sort of mainstream, like what the fuck, he was on this and that, and he just, every one he does that, and I think
mega smart, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you worked with him?
I haven't. I've like hung out with him and stuff, but no, I'd love to. But it's I think Danny Mac, and it's almost like like your comment about Seminux stuff, where it's maybe so performance based that unless you're like the core, you lose that. Like,
I mean, he does opposite stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Dude,
Kathy down the park doesn't care about opposite
for
stuff.
sure.
It's like,
and so
it's hard to even stay on top of it as someone who's core. Like,
Yeah.
I sometimes have to rewind and be like, oh,
Dude.
fuck, that was opposite. He does it so well.
I've literally like been shooting Brandon multiple times, and it's some crazy trick that we know we're all there today is get this one shot.
Yeah.
And I after he lands it, we get the clip, like I'll be like, can you like explain it to me? And he's like, oh yeah, it's cool because I did the bar spin with my left hand this time, or whatever it is. Like, I like do this, I like watch mountain bikers for a living, and I don't know what he's doing, you know. But it's almost like
dude.
Danny Mac's like the opposite of that, and like it's like everybody can understand that if he crashes, he's gonna fall off a building.
Yeah.
In the same reason, Danny McCaskill's really successful for that reason. It's the same reason, like that amazing documentary Free Solo that came out that won the
Just
Oscar.
understand it. It's just a simple
Yeah,
thing that
you
you can
understand
communicate perfect, isn't it?
That if that athlete's performance fails, that he is going to die.
Yeah.
100%. And that's why Free Solo did really well. And I think why Danny's riding is so powerful.
Why
to a
street
mainstream
racing does
audience.
well. You know how hard a set of steps is when you fall on it, or you know how
Totally,
much
dude.
a lamppost doesn't move. Yeah,
and
yeah.
you have reference to like, I know that a set of steps is 1 foot this way or 1 foot that. Like, whereas like a lot of the stuff that we shoot, like, you know, you guys know, like you see the features in real life and they're just massive.
Yeah.
And like you try so hard to give them justice, and it's just like,
Yeah, like
always
Rampage just
impossible.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think Danny's done a good job of taking like the danger of professional freeride mountain biking and putting it in an arena that everybody can understand and has references to, whether that be a set of stairs or
Phone box railing,
top
all
of a
this stuff.
fucking garage or something.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a good question, wasn't it?
You know,
was
I
a
was
good
thinking
question.
that I just got to mention it. Can you imagine what mountain biking would look like if Travis Pastrana just had a little go at it just for a few years? And he like did a downhill race, and he did maybe 2 seasons or something.
Did
How
he do?
different-
Dude,
he
like
did
Crankworks Whistler.
Crankworks,
Yeah,
didn't he?
I
And
think
he
so.
flipped in his run or something,
Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah. I just how
And
cool would it be
crashed.
if Travis
Yeah.
just like dipped his toe in just for a few years,
It'd
like,
be,
a few years ago,
it'd be
at
amazing.
the height of his like thing, Nitro
But
Circus
like,
vibes and stuff.
it'd be more amazing if Travis found a way to do mountain biking for 3 years in an urban environment like Danny McCaskill, where everybody
Yeah,
can
there you
understand
go,
it,
yeah.
you know,
True.
because it's not about being a mount, like to really grow the sport. It's not like, oh, I flipped.
So you think it's got to be urban? Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Is where most of the people are. The highest
Yeah, yeah,
concentration of
yeah.
people are. Yeah.
But it's like this fine balance of like, how can you get our sport the closest to like major metropolitan area without sacrificing, without it becoming like, you know, just a bunch of fucking box jumps on the ground. That's
Yeah.
not mountain biking either, you know?
I mean, proof of it is that the
And, like,
wheelie
you
gangs are the wheelie riding, whatever you call it.
Yeah. 12
like bike
o'clock
life or
boys.
whatever. 12 o'clock boys. like that is so popular, and
Yeah.
yet it's so one dimensional in my head. It's like one part.
Yeah.
It's one tiny part of biking that they focus on, just wheeling around streets, but it's on the streets.
Yeah,
So people
everyone
get
has
it.
a street.
Yeah.
Anyone who's got a bike, it's not based on like it being an expensive bike. It's like accessible.
Yeah.
Maybe that's grown, but cycling
Maybe.
in a broader sense.
Yeah.
Weird thought, isn't it? I hadn't thought
Yeah.
that most people
And
in
you
cities.
also like have to, if it's like we're talking about mountain biking, like you could argue that Danny McCaskill is not a mountain biker.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah.
So we're kind of, it's like, what lens are we really like? What's our definition of success and what's our definition of mountain biking? And start there and kind of work backwards.
Great
Well, I think
question.
I
Great
do
question.
think Danny McCaskill is a mountain biker through and through, and like I think if you really had to nail down my entire time in the sport of mountain biking, like he has brought it into a mainstream more than any other athlete.
Yeah.
Like full stop.
Cool.
Fair.
Andrew Baum, best bike destination for intermediate to advanced riders, gravity focused worldwide.
Waka.
Queenstown, New Zealand.
There you go.
Nice. We'll go with that for sure.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah, mine was just a joke.
Maybe
We're gonna do that
Madeira,
thing.
but like if you want, like Queenstown's crazy in that it's like you can have like bike park, world class dirt jumps, all this other trails no one knows about, heli drops, bing bang boom, in like in a greater, closer proximity than I would say like Whistler.
Yeah.
Whistler would maybe be like number 2 if you're looking at like what's the sickest place to go ride in the world where I can get a hotel room in the center of the action and then leave the area? Like,
I mean, I can't not agree.
You loved it, right? You came
and I went there for 5 days, dude. And I barely saw any of it, but it's shocking. You get to the airport and you look off and you look about and you can see trails from the airport runway.
From the plane.
It's like, it's ridiculous.
Maybe like 2 for I think Madeira has a lot of things going for it. It's obviously like way different than lift riding and all that sort of thing. But if you're like, say you're this being a, you know, you guys are UK based. I mean, if you're in Europe or especially the UK, I would say Madeira is like, get there just because it's so close and so sick. And it's such
to me, it's such like a true representation of mountain biking as well. Because like Queenstown, there's a lot of like bike park stuff. Great fun, but it's like synthetic, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
It's
Is there a World Cup in New Zealand? Am I been a total idiot that I can't think of one?
There's world champs in 2006.
There you go. That's answer the previous question.
Just like an encyclopedia of knowledge.
Amazing.
You guys I got an idea, okay?
Yeah.
And this is for the entire audience. I want to come back to the Ride podcast, and I want you two to moderate a mountain biking, just like nerdy quiz with me and Sven.
Okay.
I like that.
Oh, Sven was awesome on the pod. To be fair, he was really good.
Yeah,
funny.
Sven's a G.
Like,
I wonder if Sven's going to be over
Sven.
in the UK for Fort William. Are you going to come to Fort William? I mean,
maybe it's out.
There's a horse advert nearby.
What's the budget, Fort William?
Horse advert. I just said.
That's pretty much what it is.
That would be good if we could link it up. That'd be sick. That would be.
It'd
fun.
just be sick because me and Sven are just like, kind of like embarrass each other with our knowledge and memorization of shit. Where it's like, dude, we're fucking so
I'm
weird.
so the opposite. I think about this all the time. Like the amount of stuff I've watched, it just doesn't go in.
What do you mean? Just the like
mainly
weird
Supercross.
gnarly.
Mainly that. Like I've not missed a race, dude, for like 15 years.
Yeah.
But you go, oh, who won? Blah blah blah, in whatever year, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just doesn't stick.
Maybe it's because we were like there on site when a lot. Like
definitely.
dude, if you ask me like
attach it to stories.
Where was Worlds in 2006? It's like it's obvious. It was Rotorua, New Zealand, in the same way the sky is blue and Henry the Hoovers are in LA. It's just where it was.
Yeah,
but
if so cool.
But like, but if you ask like who won, literally to me personally, and Sven will have a different because Sven has been there. Like I haven't consistently been to World Cups in years, right? But if you ask me like who's like the like 2018 World Cup champ, like I would have to pause and really do some thinking because I wasn't there.
What about a current bit of news? Who won Fort William National the other day?
Ooh, see, that was Lord Greenland.
Yes, he's still on it. He's still on it.
But I was about to say that happened when I was shooting horses, and it was like, if you're fucking checking BDS Fort William results when you're supposed to be shooting horses, you are not doing your job. So I just sneaked that one in there. But yeah, Laurie's sick. That's another rider who I've never worked with before, and he's definitely like on my list of like he's a G,
isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get him in.
I worked in New Zealand after our shoot for DG2. What is it called again?
Dumb Genius.
After Dumb Genius 2 shoot. I worked with Roop on this like little Jackson Goldstone edit that we spent 2 days on it, but I'd never shot him before, and fuck me, he's so
Jackson.
Yeah, dude, unreal.
He's the chosen one.
Yeah, it
seems that way, huh?
Funny.
He's
definitely like the second jump on the Dream Track line in Queenstown. That he goes so. I think I can pull up for you guys after
clip.
Still.
He showed me on his phone.
In Mexico. Yes,
he showed me on his phone, and it is.
Well, just
the highest I've ever seen anybody go off a jump.
Really?
Yeah.
He's on a downhill bike and he's pulling up like he's on a dirt jump bike.
Yeah.
So it's like it's because obviously he has such a broad range of bike skill.
Yeah.
He's so the chosen one. Seeing someone pull up on a downhill bike like they're on a dirt jump bike. Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
That was sick. I don't know when that'll come out pretty soon. It's like this. That that's again like a project where it's Roop's directing and leading it, and I'm really just like kind of like the second camera on it, which I love because I don't have to deal with. It's just really fun to walk in and walk out, you know. But yeah.
Clay, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah,
have you got anything you want to plug or shout out?
So
I like an elevator pitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got a Patreon or something where you do how-tos, how to clean lenses?
Like follow me on Instagram and shit.
yeah. You just got to say it. I reckon it's good. It's good.
Mate.
Because maybe you've just bought out a product I don't know about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a
plug.
It could be a plug. A
Like,
Henry plug.
oh yeah. Or maybe like a
Portal plug.
camera mounting device.
It could be.
Hey, maybe
dude.
there's a
Call
secret
it
product in there.
Play-Doh.
Secret product in there somewhere.
What was it? I like what's the hood thing that you used to have on your camera?
Hoodman. Yeah.
I want a Hoodman tee. I like
Dude, I
Hoodman
need
as a
to-
brand. I really like.
John Reynolds always, still to this day, mentions, he's like, I got to get Ollie a Hoodman XLT, baby.
I want a Hoodman. Yeah.
And for the
Just
audience,
nice
like a
branding,
Hoodman
really.
is a brand of lens monitor shade. And it's called a Hoodman.
Always like the logo. Just dig the brand.
It's cool.
Really.
Yeah,
And
cool, mate. It's cool
it's
brand
like
name.
literally the most like some of this like red camera stuff. Like if you don't buy the actual red product, it like borderline doesn't work. This is like a shade where you could, with like a beer box, make just as comparable of an item. And I like, dude, forever we had one of the Hoodman ones was lost, and I had to use this wooden camera one for a couple shoots recently, and I was just so bummed that it wasn't a Hoodman, and I just fell off my game. And then here's another Hoodman story. So when I went to the World Cups in 2020, when it was like the like first COVID year, and it was like Worlds, Maribor, Portugal, and Maribor and Portugal were like 2 races in one, right? Maribor won. It was like pissing rain the whole time, like pretty miserable race to shoot. And so of course I lost my Hoodman, and I was sitting with Sven and Ali DeLulo basically being like, holy fuck, I lost my Hoodman. I need to post on my Instagram story, like, if anybody's seen my Hoodman, can you just let me drop it by the intense pits and give it to fucking Aaron Gwynn or something? Because I don't have my Hoodman. And I was like waiting for qualifying to start with Sven and Ali DeLulo, and I had got my story done, and I was like, man, I think I need to think of a good song to put on this story. And Sven was like, fuck man, you should put fucking, I don't know, he had some song he liked at the time, and I was like, no, fuck that.
German.
I'm putting DMX where the hood at. And Sven just looked at me and was like, fuck. Just like, even Sven was just like, I'm gonna go get ready to shoot some photos. Thanks for having me on, boys.
Thank you. Appreciate
Been
you,
super
man.
fun, and
Thank
congrats
you.
on the new set and everything. It's quite cool to see first time, and now it's
Come a long way from driving in cars.
how many years you guys been doing it now?
This is
5?
I've been 8.
Wow, 8 years.
Ish,
Yeah,
7
because
and a
maybe
bit.
that was.
I started doing it on my own first, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, no, I
Ollie
remember,
joined
like-
3 and a bit years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
I'm bright
Fucking
eyed, bushy
long
tailed.
time,
Yeah,
dude.
a lot of conversations.
A lot of
about that.
chats. Speaking of a lot of things happening, Freedom Ride tickets, May 20. What day is it? What day is it now? Month. What month are we in? May?
It's May the 15th.
So
Yeah.
Freedom Ride tickets, May 23rd.
May 23rd.
So I
It's
looked at the
coming
camera
up.
then, which is weird, but yeah, May 23rd. Freedom Ride
You can look at
tickets.
the camera, it's cool.
That's our event. We
It's,
do a little event.
For all our American listeners, it's a Freedom Ride in the UK, which you'll just have to put those two things together.
Yeah, it's got a different meaning, I think, in the States. Yeah. It's different meaning.
We need to
Okay,
get a Henry
very
Hoover.
different meaning.
Yeah.
Freedom Ride.
Different kind of freedom.
There you
Like,
go.
dude, you know how like there's like a Red Bull helmet and it has Red Bull over. Like, if some UK kid rocked up to like a BDS national and had fucking a Henry the Hoover branded,
helmet?
really painted helmet, that would be a hit. Yeah, is it even called that anymore? BDS, British Downhill Series.
Henry the Hoover helmet would be
It would
nice.
be pretty
yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, it would.
Everybody
With
would
the
know
tube
what
out.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tube
I mean,
Connected to you. That was the best episode we've ever done.
So
wasn't
good.
it?
Yeah, how are you not going to want to hit like and subscribe after that?
I don't know how you
How?
could do it. I don't know. I mean, maybe they could watch the last video over your way.
Yeah, or
Above
you
it-
can
above
watch
you.
a clip that we think you might like. Either
Who-
way.
who
hit
knows
like,
where it is,
hit
yeah.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Drop a comment. Job's a good one.
Thanks for watching The Ride Companion.